Mm-hmm.
Is that in the recording?
It stopped.
Weird. Each you. That's weird. We must be getting some feedback from somewhere. Did you hear it, Mike? Isn't that crazy?
I moved my phone away, so I don't know if it was.
Oh, it's picking up on the mic. Yeah, because that's the Bluetooth. It's picking up on that. That thing will not have the shielding that these mics have. So that's the one drawback of that mic. That's something we can write in a review. I bet they'll appreciate it. That's your Bluetooth from. If you turn off Bluetooth, it won't do it anymore. Watch this. And hold it right up to the mic. Here, I'm even going to pause this thing real quick so we can show the world. If you pull down in the top right-hand corner, and then you're looking for your mic and your camera, that thing that it's up in there.
Not on.
You have cellular on.
Mm-hmm.
Turn off cellular and go to Wi-Fi. Just turn off cellular real quick. Now put it up to the phone. Mike. No. Crazy. See, because I can do this. I wonder if you put it. All right. Sorry, folks. Let's go ahead and watch the show. We're already late, but we were just figured we'd show you anyway. All right. Here we go. Rock and roll.
Hey, Matt, congratulations on your success, brother. And I really appreciate you giving, both sides, and just free speech, the opportunity to have a platform, dude.
Got it. You got it. Thanks for everything you've done for this country, Eli. We'll talk next time. Tell Jen hello, and I'll have this ready in a couple of hours, and you can share it and take a look. Thank you, man.
Thanks, brother.
All right. Bye-bye.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, Olivia, and Mike. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on the Spreely.tv network and all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
The hero of the night is Olivia, who has to tolerate my shit when she has to learn all of a sudden how to do things that she has no idea how to do, and then has to listen to me berate her until I have to wind up doing it anyway. And she has the patience of a fucking a Sherpie.
She's a saint. Just say it. She's a saint.
She's a saint.
I'm so far from a saint.
And
thank you.
But it was all her fault anyway. So She, you know, and if that didn't happen, well, I'm just saying, if the UPS packages were printed out, we wouldn't have had this problem. No, listen, that if anyone spent any time with Olivia and I, 24 hours, 7 days a week, you would find that most of the time is loving and cuddly and kind and beautiful and mutual respect. And then the show right before it is the worst. It's been pretty good for a couple months, but tonight I was at my worst. I was just barking, just come on, do this, do that. I can't stand it. I know who I am, and it's one of my worst qualities. So I'm doing it publicly. I love you, and I'm sorry for being a little bit of a biatch before the show. Okay?
Okay. Love you too.
You look good, by the way. Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show, where we get just honest and personal. Michael is back in the house. Let's everyone give him a warm round of applause. Michael, just
How's everybody
so
doing?
much back in the house.
Well, thank you.
Wow.
If I'd have known you were coming, I would have brought you one of those Crayola cakes.
Are you wearing your Leroy shirt?
Yeah.
You are wearing your Leroy shirt.
The mic's right in the way. There you go.
How are you feeling? You've lost weight, dude.
I'm a little under the weather. I've gained weight, actually.
It's water weight because you look good. You look good. Everybody looks wonderful. I love the fact that after 3 years, we finally are all the same size on our cameras and our windows. That to me, it's just exceptional. And it got so stressful that I didn't even recognize that everyone sounds so amazing. Mike has a new mic. If you guys can't hear it, Mike, go ahead and say something lovely.
Why, hello there.
How's
everybody doing
It's like
tonight?
butter. Let us know about the sounds. If everything sounds okay, we would appreciate you guys checking. Are our volumes okay? Were all the videos okay? If that is okay, then we will go ahead and proceed. We got a lot to do. Mike, do you want to talk about your hiatus at all, or do we want to do that on another show?
Let's do it on another show because that's not going to be a short conversation.
Okay, cool. So Mike was on location. He went to a brothel in France. It is a conquistador cosplay, but the interesting thing is it's midgets, and instead of using bowls,
It's my size people.
right. Well, that's why.
My size.
That's how he got in. And what they do is they take chihuahuas and they go ahead and they put small eagle claws on the sides of their heads, and then they go ahead and replicate the conquistadors and mastadors
How
of
do you
Spain.
come up with this stuff? That's what I want to know.
I just pulled it out of my ass, and it worked. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about tonight. We've got a few topics. Who brought the Ilhan Omar topic? Tell us what we're going to talk about.
So technically, it was both of us. Amy, do you want to start it off?
Well, you beat me to it. No, you just texted before I did. So that's all good. It's all good.
Okay. So we have a member of Congress who apparently loves another country more than the U.S. and cares about their interests more than the U.S. So it's going to be a interesting video on what they actually care about, and it's not
Go
us.
figure.
So
Yeah.
Mike's mic should be coming in a little hotter. Is that something? Mike, just go ahead and say, welcome to the jungle.
Welcome to the jungle. The
You got to say it.
mighty
You
jungle.
got to project though. You can't talk like you can't. Talk.
I can't. Oh, okay. I
gotta
guess I got to project.
you gotta
Welcome
God,
to the
Tone
jungle.
in that
There it is.
voice.
This is really the Thunderdome. That's what we're going for here.
That's it. All right.
Yeah.
So
The
Mike
Thunderdome,
Mike
bitch.
should sound better. Good. I'm glad
He
everyone
absolutely
sounds good.
does.
We're talking about what else, Leroy? What else are we going to be hitting?
Oh, we were going to talk briefly about the drone attack in Jordan and the absolute shit show that is right now.
Okay. I'm going to get your volume
Yeah.
up a little bit because you
No,
guys
I'll
are
do it.
too low. No, don't do it. Don't do it. Let me do it. Whatever. Fred, Bob, don't touch the fucking thing. All right. If you
Larry.
touch the
I go by
volume,
Larry.
if you touch the volume, I got to fix everybody. So let me control all the volume. Go ahead and say hi again one more time, Leroy.
Hi again, one more time, Leroy.
Great. Outstanding. Amy, you too.
Hello, everybody. Good to see everyone this evening.
Okay.
So nice to have us all here.
Are we all? If we're all
is.
on the same level now, please let me know that we're all on the same level. I would appreciate it. Okay. Livia, what are we talking about? You got a topic?
Starbucks has fired 2 hero employees Apparently, they stopped a robbery, and Starbucks is getting sued by the employees now.
Wow. All right. Well, let's just start there. That's a big one. Unfortunately, we will not have individual screens tonight because, well, we had enough stress. So we're going to have to suck it up tonight. But what we do have is all of us on video, which lower left-hand corner. We also have a number right in the bottom, 804-212-2208. Half of it's covering. It looks like Amy's wearing a phone shirt. There, I'll just move it over. And it looks like Amy's wearing a phone shirt. See?
There we go.
That's fantastic. All right. So we're going to go ahead and start by watching this. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take Amy and move her all the way over. Leroy is going to go all the way over. We're getting there. We're getting there, folks. And then
You noticed,
Michael-
Amy, how you and I are all the way on the right?
Yes. It's because we're the
I
furthest,
wasn't
I
done,
think,
dude.
right.
I wasn't done, dude. Hold on. There we go. Everyone's looking just.
I'm getting a
fine.
Hollywood Squares kind of vibe. I love it.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, or Brady Bunch.
The Brady Bunch.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Jinx.
Now, did you say Brady Bunch? All right.
Yes.
There we go.
Of course I
Now
did.
we're all happy. And then we can take the call to show and move it over here. All right. Here we go. Let's go ahead and watch this. Liv, set us up. Starbucks employee.
Okay, so about a month ago, I think it was in Minnesota or Wisconsin, can't remember the state, but two guys walked in with guns to a Starbucks. There was only one customer there, 7 employees, started demanding, everyone give them all their stuff, empty the cash register. One of the employees, one of the robbers hit him over the head with the gun, and he heard the gun crack. So he knew it was fake. So then 2 of the employees and one of the customers ended up attacking them and stopped the robbery. And the mugshot from one of the guys he looks pretty beat up. He's got blood all over his head and his face. It's pretty funny.
From Starbucks
From
employees?
Starbucks.
Who knew? I thought they were all granolas.
From Starbucks, but now Starbucks has fired them a month later. So I've got a few things I don't know.
All right, well, let's watch the video, and then we can all chime in and give our thoughts on this. I've obviously got a take on it, being in retail most of my life, but interested to see what we come up with. Here it is.
Oh,
Of course it is. Hold on.
Oh, I was totally off on the state. Totally wrong.
What was it?
I said Minnesota or Wisconsin. It's Missouri.
That's close enough. Nobody cares.
Close enough.
There was
One of the baristas while demanding cash. That same barista still managed to help another coworker subdue those criminals until police arrived. But now, weeks later, Starbucks firing them for violating the company's, quote, partner safety policy. Michael Harrison is that former Starbucks barista. Ryan Krupp is his attorney, and they both join me now. Michael, I'm so sorry this is happening to you, but walk us through what happened from your perspective.
So we entered, or they entered Starbucks with one gun at the time we didn't know was fake or not, and started waving it at people. At that point, I tried to help get the cash register open. It wasn't going as planned. I tried to ask the supervisor to get up off the ground, but at that point, I got pistol whipped in the back of the head. And then after that, I just lay down on the ground, tried to not have anything happen, and I felt endangered. So me and our coworker were just like staring at each other and stuff, but they started frisking us down, like pushing us around, taking our personal belongings, and we started to fight back.
From what I understood, Michael, the weapon broke. It looked fake to you, and that sort of is when you said, "Hey, we're going to be okay if we fight back because this is not a real gun." And when the police arrived, what did they say to you?
When the police arrived, they were just asking me if I was all right. They asked if we subdued them and just gave us a pat on the back, honestly.
Wow.
They're just making sure we were all okay.
Ryan, I want to bring you in here now. A Starbucks spokesperson telling the New York Post, quote, "We were deeply disturbed to learn of this frightening incident. In situations like this, our training and protocols guide our partners to comply and de-escalate, not just for their safety, but for the safety of all in the store." But Ryan, since when can Starbucks prevent you from defending your life after you've already been viciously attacked?
Good morning. And the answer is never. You have the human right to defend yourself from being attacked. In Missouri, we have a stand your ground law, and that would supersede any corporate policy. No corporation should have the ability to put a policy in place that overrides your human rights. And not only that, but in this case, Starbucks did not cite such a policy when they decided to let Mr. Harris go. Of course, they're going to rely on that now, but we have other plans for that.
Understood. Now, Michael, you need the money from this Starbucks job to pay for your paramedic training, paramedic school. Now that you're fired, what's the plan?
He's going to sue the shit out of him to be a millionaire is what he's going to do.
He doesn't need to be a paramedic anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be a paramedic anymore.
He's going to be a day trader.
You know what I would? Yeah, I'd be like, I'm going to buy the hospital is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be the director of frickin' paramedic training is what I'm going to do. Here we go.
He's going to open up a competitor store next
that's right.
I was just thinking that. Like a Caribou coffee.
I'm going to create Grey's Anatomy, Missouri. Grey's Anatomy, Missouri. Right. It's going to be called like the broken gun coffee shop or some shit. Just, dude, kid, call me. I'll take care of you.
9mm cafe.
GoFundMe just to try to help out in this situation and just look for another job, figure out what I can do from here to better my situation.
He's gonna sue their asses.
Well, hopefully people watching this at home, if you're watching and you're in the St. Louis area, give this guy a call, please. Ryan, quickly, before we let you go, how much will the...
Give him a call. What are they going to do? Stop by like he's like Field of Dreams? And,
hey,
Mike, can we stop by your house and just hang out a little bit? We bonded with you on Fox.
Yes, please show up unannounced. That's just what you should do.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially in a state with stand your ground laws.
Yeah, where you get shot, right? Hey, I'm Mike, and I bought a gun because good enough.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is crazy.
I'm not the main host. I never do this. I'm
You get
sorry.
to. Well, you know what? You've earned it.
Okay.
So go for it.
Well, can I go first?
No, that's not what a host does. A host goes ahead and talks.
Hey, it's her segment.
Yeah,
She
it
can
is
do
her
what she
segment.
wants.
Yeah, I guess she can do what she wants. Whatever.
Yeah, I got some good opinions.
Go ahead. Go for it.
So my thoughts on this, when I saw it this morning, I did a little bit of research on it. And the kids, so Starbucks has got the policy of you're not supposed to do anything. Just do exactly what they say and leave it alone. You're not supposed to try and fight back or anything. If Starbucks would have fired them right then, like the day after, I can totally understand that because they violated their policy. All companies have got an employee handbook that you're supposed to read when you get hired, and you're supposed to sign it, so you have to abide by those rules. And I understand if they would have fired him right then, they have that. You didn't follow these rules, so you're fired. I get that. But it's the fact that they waited for a month and they didn't even give him a reason why they fired them. That's where it's suspicious. I don't understand why they would do that. As far as the kids, I mean, good for them for what they did. But in his interview that I was reading online, they said that they felt like they were going to fight for their lives, or they were scared for their lives. They were going to die. And that's why they went and attacked them. Well, you already knew the gun was fake. How are you going to die?
So you're just going to take everybody's talking points because they just took mine. Mike's smiling. You took his.
Well, you know what? Majority of the time, all my talking points have already been taken by the time it gets to me.
I know. So. I'm just like, well, but we should avoid. You should do it better than me. No, now I understand. So, but this is helping me be better. So now I know what to do next time. Now I'm like, oh shit, I know what Livia feels like. Because I'm like, all my points are gone. Go ahead, babe.
Yeah. So anyway, I can understand both sides, but I think Starbucks is definitely in the wrong because they waited for a month to do this. So I think they're definitely in the wrong on this end. The kids should not have done what they did, but still, I understand why they did. But I've worked retail and I've never been robbed at gunpoint, but we've had people come in and take stuff and we know they're taking it and we can't do anything. So I totally get
Yeah.
it. So, all right, Mike, how about you go since you've been gone for a month?
right.
Mike still has one.
So, yes, I do. All right. So, first thing for this me is when there is a robbery, no matter what it is, tell me what material possession is worth your life. And if it's nothing, guess what? Whatever they're asking for, just give it to them. Because whether the gun's real or not, is it worth your life? And if it's some type of possession, that answer better be no. Just give it to them. You can get it back later. You can figure it out later. Your life is worth more than that. Now, if you're still in a situation to where either you can't get away or you make that decision that your life is in danger and now you're going to fight, guess what? You better do it to make sure you are going to win. There's going to be one story, and you better do it so that way no one else is harmed by your actions.
Yeah.
Someone who's not the robber is harmed by your actions. So when you decide to go, you better go, and you better go hard. Because the second you do that and they start shooting, guess what? Whether it's your fault legally, mentally, now you're going to know that I just did something that caused harm to somebody else, and that's going to be hard to live with. So before you act, you need to start thinking about that second and third order consequences of whatever you're doing. Now, on the Starbucks side, obviously, we know it's a very liberal company. Obviously, they're going to shy more towards like, nope, give them whatever they want. Don't do anything. You're not allowed to protect yourself. And I'm sure they probably double checked to make sure these guys were like triple boosted, and that's probably why they got fired.
That's right.
So, and obviously they're probably more in a conservative area. So they're like, oh, we can just get rid of these guys because obviously they're not going to abide by our policies. So this is where you need to think where you put your money. Because obviously, like, you know how Starbucks is, you know what they care about. Why continue to support them, or why work there? I got it if that's the only place you can actually get a job to work, but you have to understand the company and what they actually put out there and what conduct they want their employees to do. And if you're not okay with that, then don't work there.
Yep.
That's kind of all I got.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Didn't steal all of mine, just a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
All right, Amy, you want to go now?
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay. So a little bit. Hold on. A little bit of feedback, real quick. Little feedback. So this is how we get. Amy, you look bored. I know you've got something to say. Go. Okay. Go ahead.
I'm just going in a row. Mike's on my left, Amy's in the middle, then Leroy. Then I'm going. in a
Amy
row.
always gets the middle. All right. Go ahead.
So I don't know how old this kid is or the other young man. I'm assuming it was two young men. I don't know their backgrounds. I know nothing about them, but I feel like there are people in the world who are like natural born, like fighters. Like they don't care. Like they're going to fight somebody no matter what. And then there's people like me who are like, please just take all my stuff. And unless you're threatening my children, I'm going to just let you take whatever, you know what I mean? Like, so I don't know if that was like part of his like thought process. Like, hey, we can take this guy, you and me, like we can take, I don't know if it was one guy or a bunch of guys. I didn't hear that part of the story, but
what was it?
If they're young
there was
kids,
two guys that robbed them. There was two. It was two male employees, and the customer.
I saw the picture. That's right. Yeah.
And then it was two men who robbed them.
I mean, I don't know. Again, I'm not a young guy. I never have been. Don't ever want to be. Just putting that out there. Don't want to transition.
So
you could be now in today's world. It's just
I know.
It depends on the day and how you feel.
You just got to suffer from mass delusion and take some SSRIs, and you'll be right as rain.
Right. But my point in bringing that up, I know, is just I don't know what their thought process is. I don't know what these kids. I don't know what I would do in that situation. I haven't been in that situation, thank God. But I'm thinking like as if I were a young man and like maybe, my father always taught me like, hey, defend yourself. You don't take crap from anyone. And if you know you can take someone and your life is being threatened or you're trying to protect the safety of others, then you take that shot. I don't, who knows? And I don't think what they did was that wrong in my opinion if they felt that which they did, they succeeded obviously, right? But who knows if they had another weapon on them? They don't know if they had like a knife. Those are the things that would be in my mind. What else do they have? They might have a fake gun, but maybe they were using that and they have a real gun in the back of their, pants or whatever because they didn't want to be those people, but now they have to be those people. So I don't know. And the whole Starbucks thing, I don't care about Starbucks. I do go there sometimes. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't, not very often. A couple times a year. That's it. So I don't support them on the regular. I don't care about Starbucks. But really one more point though. You're hearing about all these other companies like Walgreens that are closing stores because they keep getting robbed. Like, is this not a concern of Starbucks? Are they just so freaking wealthy? They're like, oh, take our money. We don't care. Traumatize our customers. They don't come back. We don't care. We don't need the money. Like, anyway,
It's a good point.
yeah, whatever.
Good point.
Yeah, that's it.
My turn?
Leroy, would you like to go? Yes.
It's like pulling teeth, folks.
I'm not used to this.
It's okay. Get used to it.
So my initial thought was, how the military and most corporate entities have kind of adopted this run, hide, fight kind of thing in terms of like, any sort of active shooter. It's the same thing with regard to any incidents of a potential store robbery. The reason they do that is to cover their corporate butt. It's to make sure that that de-escalation is thought of as the protocol, right? Never, let's not escalate anything. We don't want anything to get in. God forbid a patron would have been hurt. That would have been multiple millions of dollars in the form of a lawsuit. Whereas if the corporate policy is, look, just take what you want, back off, be slow and steady about it. That's why they do that. But 30 days later, though, I kind of keyed in on that in terms of for Olivia's point. 30 days later, why? And the only thing I could think of was one of two examples or situations. Either it was a case of negative PR that somehow must have gotten some level of traction either at a corporate level or maybe locally, or they were trying to make an example of these kids to basically say, don't do that. And now we have to let you go because of it. Now, when I'm thinking about that, I'm trying to put myself in the place of this poor kid who was, being robbed. And in the video, they said that he was struck over the head and the gun broke, and that's when he realized it was fake. And so he went ahead and attacked the guy. I don't know that it actually went that smoothly. If anybody's ever been, like sucker punched, you generally have one of two reactions. You just it's fight or flight. It's immediately back out of the situation and just kind of run for safety, or you snap. And a lot of times when people do that and they have that snap type moment, they don't even think about what just happened. They just go full on attack. And I wonder if that's what happened to this poor kid. So that was just my thought.
Yeah.
Dear, would you like to go now?
Sure.
I'm also trying to be polite and make sure
You're
that
doing
he's
wonderful.
done.
You're doing fantastic. You're doing awesome. But better than I am. You're a lot more polite than I am. I'm just like, Leroy, geez, you're obviously chomping at the bit. Go ahead. There's quite a few things. So I think there's two sides to this argument, and always trying to understand the two sides. This guy signed an employee handbook. Inside that employee handbook states clearly what the policy is in case of a robbery. It's in every single corporation. I know it's in Starbucks too, because it's a Fortune 15, but also a Fortune 500. And there's a standard practice that all corporations take. And he was educated on what he should and shouldn't do. As far as the 30 days, I look at it this way. HR has to have an investigation. And that investigation is fully detailed along with interviewing everybody who was working that day, waiting for the police investigation to surmise and close, because that's usually where the decision is made on that employee's further employment or termination or separation from the company. So that's not going to be done in a week. So they should have suspended him with pay, and they didn't. And that's the biggest problem. And that's where the lawyer's probably going to win, because malfeasance has to be addressed within 72 hours. Something to this case, and there is a there is a time clock on this type of stuff. Like, for instance, if you're going to go do short-term disability, or you're going to do unemployment, or you're going to do workman's comp, you have to file that within 72 hours of the incident. And if you don't claim it, it can be turned down in some states. And the same thing holds true for if you do something wrong. There has to be, once it's acknowledged by the manager has so long to contact HR. HR has to respond, and the employee must be notified. So they should have suspended him with pay pending further outcome. That didn't take place. So they're going to be in hot water because what they tried to do was skirt the line. And if they skirted the line, then all the defense attorney has to say is, well, my employee, the defendant skirted the line as well. So you're not the only ones. You guys weren't even in that situation and you skirted the line, and he did too. So that's the defense they need. A couple things is whether the gun's fake or not. Starbucks has knives. And if you're going to get in a fist fight with somebody and you can ensure that that person isn't going to get a knife. And remember this is, these guys aren't trained for that. They don't know. So I can tell you my experience. There's a few stories. One is Hollywood Video Movie Gallery, over in Manal in Albuquerque in New Mexico, Hollywood Video. 5 of my employees in the market, along with the current district manager who was there, was closing the store. It was late at night. It's a big 4,000 square foot, Hollywood Video. And 2 guys came in who were from the border and were in the country illegally, bound them by their feet and their hands, took them to the back, shot them all 5 in the head and killed them, took $170 in cash, robbed them, took the woman's underwear off of her after killing her, raping her while she was dead, and then fled the store. So I don't give a shit about any job at Starbucks. If I feel that I'm not going to make it home, I have a right to defend my life. And that's an argument that they can say. And that the whole lawyer, there was only one part of that entire kid's spiel that was prepared. And what that was, I felt threatened for my life.
Yep.
And that's the lawyer saying, that's the lawyer saying that this is going to be a lawsuit and this kid's going to make a shit ton because he did feel threatened for his life. That's all he has to say. Whether it was a plastic gun or not, it doesn't matter. I have had people drive trucks through my stores. I had an F-150 go through my store in Albuquerque as they went through both bollards, put all 5 tables through a long wire reinforced cable, pulled all 5 tables out, ripped them out of the ground, and took all the phones, the iPads, and the computers, and literally took $140,000 worth of stuff in a matter of 30 seconds. I've had people at gunpoint come in the Apple stores. I've had my stores strong-armed robbery in Houston, Texas. In fact, I threatened to quit as director or vice president of marketing if we did not put security in all of our stores in Houston, Texas. And I stood up and I said, you people, you scalped me from Apple for a reason. And you brought me here for a reason to tell you how to launch phones. You've had me build your retail stores, design your retail stores, hire 3,000 employees, create kiosks, everything from the chairs to the flowers. I have given you feedback on how to make a perfect Apple store in Xfinity. And if you do not put security in place, you're going to get our kids killed. And I said, for 2 months out of the year, there's going to be a crime wave that starts all the way in El Paso, comes across and goes across to Houston. Then it goes back to El Paso and all the way up California in the 101. And it happens every year. These crime gangs come in here and they do this and they steal credit cards. They strong arm robbery. And the first 30 days, we didn't have anything. And the vice president of the district in Denver goes, well, Matt, looks like you were wrong. And I said, you guys got another week. And after that week, we are going to get hit multiple times, trucks through the doors, employees cold cocked.
I remember this.
And I said, either you put security in these stores or I quit, because you're not going to get one. I'm not going to lose more kids. And on the middle of a conference call, you're all on fucking notice, is what I said. And we're talking VPs, presidents, CFO, everybody. And David, who was the guy who recruited me, he goes, dude, we brought Matt in for a reason. I trust him. If he says this, and they're like, do you know how much this is going to cost us? And I said, do you know how much it's going to cost if one of our kids get plugged? And that week, to the farking day, truck drove through Tidwell. And in the middle of the night, and I had to go down there.
Yep,
and then 2 nights later, they went and they strong-armed strong-arm robbery took place.
Right.
And up in in Tomball area, and then it was dominoes, just boom, boom. They were hitting the stores every night.
I remember the phone calls.
And then I was there in those stores, and I finally called David Kardashian, and I said, what was it, Targaryen? Or it wasn't Kardashian, David Targaryen, I think his name was. Anyway, and I said, brother, you got a choice. You either go ahead and you put security in every one of these stores. Not only am I going to quit, I'm going to get every one of those employees to quit, and then I'm going to do a class action lawsuit against Comcast, and we're going to fucking own a very large portion of NBC. Next day, security was in, and then I said, okay, now you need bollards in front of the store. They didn't listen. Truck after truck after. Once we put security, they started hitting it with trucks. And finally, they put bollards in. And then I said, okay, now you need metal security gates because now they're going to pop the windows at night. So you got to go ahead and put reinforced glass, and you got to put metal security gates. And they're like, can't do it. So after about 2 or 3 weeks of this, man, my phone was ringing. Okay, Matt, we've solved this problem. What's going to be the next one? And I'll tell you what, my career in Comcast went off because I've been seeing this throughout my entire life, entire retail career. So here's the thing, long story longer, is there's going to be times when you have to stand behind your employees. And I don't believe that firing them is the best choice. If somebody steals a bag of beans and you go ahead and beat the living snot out of them, you shouldn't have a job. But during a robbery where your life is being threatened, you should do whatever you can to survive and walk home and get home from that situation. Because essentially it's a kidnapping. And you can't tell someone just sit there for a kidnapping and just hang tight. You can't do that. So this kid's going to make some money. That's my thought.
Okay.
Yep.
Am I supposed to say something now?
No, I just want to ask the real question. If you were in that situation, would you have done the kid, or would you have been the person who sits there and goes through it? Liv?
I have.
No,
I don't know. Seriously, until you've been in the situation. I know when I worked at Office Max, somebody came in and we could tell that they were shoving stuff in the purse and in the jacket and stuff like that.
Right.
And all we did was watch them. And when they walked out, one of the managers kind of followed her to her car and we called 911. But there was no strong arm robbery. I've never been in any type of a situation like that. The closest I've been is listening to the phone calls you got in the middle of the night from when your stores got robbed. So I don't know. That is something I don't know.
Mikey, what about you? What are you going to do?
So at the point that they got violent, that's when 100% you fight back. Up until that point, just start throwing shit on whatever they want. Here you go, take it all.
Yeah.
Here's some whipped cream on it, and if you need it, like, do your thing.
Would you like some upside down caramel macchiato with that, sir?
Yeah.
So
And make you a
my
coffee
district
while we
manager's got a big old fat wallet. You want that?
Yeah, that's right. I'll give you his home phone. We can go over and rob him together. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a LL Bean right next door. Do you want to go rob that with me? I hate that fucking manager. So Amy, your thoughts? I mean, you said you're not that type of person, but if you got your kids with you, I think it's going to change.
Oh, yeah. If my kids are with me, I'm 100% different when my kids are with me, like in my presence, than when they're not. I am on high alert no matter where I am. I don't care if I'm driving in a car. I'm freaking out every second of the day that my kids are with me. That's just how I am. I'm always prepared for the worst. So yes, I know for a fact if someone even touches me and my kids are near me, I'm already fighting you. So that's just how I am. But in this situation, if I am alone, if I get equity here and the outcome's the same, then I'm going to fight back too. Like if I know I'm going to take these guys, like if it's two elderly grandmas and they got a plastic gun and I know I can take them, then sure, I'll beat them up. But if I'm not armed myself, because I'm talking about beating up old people, is that what's funny?
I'm just saying,
it was funny.
Yeah. Picturing you trying to
but
punch
if
somebody would be fun.
You're like, listen, Grandma, that's the last fucking straw. You're going down. I'm going to break your hip.
Exactly.
You're never going to watch Matlock again.
It's over. No, but if I'm not armed and I'm working in this store, and let's just say I'm an employee, I'm assuming this kid had been there for a long time. It seemed like he had his good head on his shoulders, like he's doing the right thing in life, working, going to school, all that stuff. I'm assuming he had that job for a while. Like he probably had some, what's the word I'm looking for? not pride. Like he probably had some, like, what is the word I'm looking for? Holy cow! Like
Prior experience.
no, I'm like pride. I'm looking for like the pride in the
Oh.
store and like keep, like, hey, this is my store. I'm gonna,
Yeah, screw that.
I
They
don't
don't
know.
pay me enough for that.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I've never worked in a Starbucks.
Like
but I
some
don't know.
level of
Maybe
ownership, you're saying?
yeah, like maybe he felt like very
He was
like attacked.
invested. He was
I don't know.
invested.
Invested.
Right?
That's what I'm thinking. That's a better word.
Investment. Okay, there we go.
I didn't have I could not, it was escaping my brain. But no, maybe he felt that way. Again, I don't know this kid at all. I'm just speculating. He seems like a nice enough kid. He obviously is listening to his attorney. I was like picking out those legal words real easy. But I hope he makes a lot of money off of Starbucks. I don't, clearly they don't care about losing the money. They'd rather just give it away anyway. So
Yeah.
who cares? Give it to somebody
Leroy,
who's going to do something with their life and do better if they're world than stealing.
Leroy, quick for you. Last, what are you going to do in this situation?
Oh, this is I'm with Mike on this one. It's if it's somebody else's money and it's somebody who just comes in and says, "Give me your money." Take it all, brother. I don't care. The moment it turns violent, if you hit me, I'm going to lose it and I'm going to go after you with everything.
I stick to the concealed carry training. You're the reason why you carry is to get home. And the moment that you're not going to get home, you have the right to alter the situation with force. So I wouldn't even have fought those kids. I hate to say it, I would have watched, I would have observed, and the moment that my wife, myself, or my children were in danger, I would have killed every one of them.
Exactly.
Especially in a state with stand your ground, like they could have.
Yeah, you should shoot.
Yeah.
Like they say, it's better to go ahead and be, get mental help from one than it's better to be
judged by 6,
judged
carried by 12.
Judged by 12, but carried by 6, right? Because you get 12 jurors.
Oh,
yeah. So, but it's true. No. Listen, it's the absolute truth. I'd rather pay for psychotherapy not for me, but if my wife shot him and get her in counseling. But honestly, there's no thought about it. That's why you carry, so you get home. And it turned into kidnapping. Once it was kidnapping, you absolutely can, even not a non-stand your ground state. There's not a state in the union that if you're kidnapped that you don't have the right for lethal force to garner your freedom. You can't do that. You can't kidnap somebody. So it turned to kidnapping. Once it did, just shoot them. Even if they didn't even get violent, just kill them anyway because it's kidnapping. That's it.
The Mel Brooks part of my side of my head just kind of envisions, because this happened at a Starbucks, like had this happened on some of the people that I know on some of their watches, that person would have been cold cocked with one of those hard ass blueberry muffins right to the dome.
Right. Oh yeah.
If this would have happened at 7-Eleven for their coffee, this would have been a much different story.
Oh, completely.
It's the twisted tea.
I'm going to absolutely fucking kill you. It's just like, or some local, liquor store. I mean, see, there's a reason why people don't. We were watching Pulp Fiction the other night, and in the beginning of it, it says, the reason why we don't rob liquor stores and small businesses, the hero factor goes up by 10 because you've got these small businesses in Starbucks. And you don't think I'm going to rob a Starbucks, just a bunch of baristas who have nose rings and literally don't understand the difference between men and women. But don't kid yourself. I mean, some of these kids, not all liberals are cream puffs. Let's be honest. I know plenty of Democrats who can bring the pain. So, all right. Well, good topic. We're going to shift gears. Mike, walk us through Ilhan Omar. She's one of my favorites, man. I've only done like 7 shows on this lady.
Yeah, it's Matt's favorite congresswoman. Definitely going to support her.
Oh, she's
I know
gift
that's where he's
that
going. Hold on. Okay, I got to mute it. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I got it muted now.
No worries. All right, so this is going to be a speech, and I don't know if it's Somali, Swahili, whatever she's actually speaking, so you're going to have to read the subtitles. So there may be a couple times we might have to stop the video just because there's a couple important parts in there. But it's a speech, I believe it was on the 26th, basically saying how she governs, who she cares about, and what she actually cares about. So it's very interesting insight into what she does for Minnesota in U.S. Congress. So
yeah, she keeps it all in the family for sure.
Yes.
These 3 books, folks, I will let you know. We put them up on the site. Liv, when did we put them up there? Just like 4 nights ago, something like that?
Yeah.
I think it was Friday, to be completely honest.
So we sold out of the first run of 10, and then we did a run of 20. and we're out again. And in fact, we have sold out Applewood. There's no more. So the 3 individuals are available, but it came in a sleeve, and you'll see it on the commercial I'm about to show you. And we've added 1 commercial. Yes, you get the Facebook commercials and stuff, but folks, that pays the bills. Just deal with it. But this, they are on the website right now, $14.99 a piece. I'm probably going to do a bundle with just the 3 without the sleeve until the other ones. But we're having PFC Flags make a wooden sleeve, all decorated, all chiseled with an American flag, saying the documents of freedom, stained. It's going to be a little bit more for it, but those are in production. I'll have those next week. But we are selling these like hotcakes. I'm going to show you the video. Everyone asks me about these books. I always go, oh, where'd you get those books? Well, I'm going to show you right now, and we'll be right back, and we're going to show the Ilhan Omar video, not the one of her and her brother. What's going on,
Thank you.
Nation? Matthew Spear from the Don't Unfriend Me podcast. It's interesting. I've had these books for, 3 years now, and I've got, 3 independent books of the Declaration, the Bill of Rights, and the Constitution of the United States that I inherited from my mother, leather-bound, beautiful, and they're older books, 1935, 1937, something to that effect. I'll show them on the show, but people see me reference these nightly on the show, and the interesting thing is I've never really put 2 and 2 together. We have a website, and someone asked last night, hey, how the heck do I get those books? Where do I get those books? And it dawned on me that I should provide these. So they are now on sale. They're beautiful books. They're leatherette books. They're hardback, which is nice. They don't have a dust cover or anything. I've used these, like I said, ad nauseum, and they hold up and they stand the test of time. They've got pictures of the framers, founders, inside the books. They make references with different colors to kind of explain things in a little bit of a simpler way or give some context. But this is word for word the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration. So it's a pretty cool thing. $14.99 per book, and then I'll ship them to you. And then we also have the Documents of Freedom collection, which is all 3 books, and it comes in a hardbound sleeve, which is really nice. And I think that's $49.99. So take a look on the site. You can peruse as much as you want, and now you can own the books that I have on the show. Thanks so much, and I'll see you guys 7 o'clock, Monday, Wednesday. No, wait, 7 o'clock all week long, Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock. We'll see you live. Good night, everybody. Hey, everybody. Amy went pee.
I did. I was like, oh, it's like a real commercial. Like I can run and run to the bathroom.
Well, that's the rule, guys, is that that's what it's there for. It's a good, I was like, well, there's a good pee break, because Olivia's always like, I go pee. And then so Amy texts Mike, and she's like, and the group, she goes, can I go pee? And Mike's
I'm like, absolutely not.
Just sit down and wet the chair. All right, so we've got the video. I'm going to close the call-in number. We'll put that back on. Let's go ahead and listen to this. Ilhan Omar. It's about 3 minutes. Read the captions. It's important.
I am the captain now.
And of course, she's being difficult.
haddii aan nahay dad Soomaali ah waxaan nahay dad isjecel waa laga yaabaa meelaha qaarkood inaan isku xagxaganno laakiin haddii runtii ay
Yeah, we're in a second to listen to her. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and move up here so everyone can see the, oh, this is like Parcheesi. Okay. Here we go. Here, I'll just turn this way down.
dad isku og inay Soomaali yihiin inay Muslim yihiin oo iyagana isku hiiliya dadka walaalahoodna u hiiliya marka daraad markii aan ayaan dhaxdaas markii aan maqalnay in qaar Soomaali ah ama Soomaali sheegato in Ethiopia ay la galeen ma ba aqaan af Soomaali wixii lagu dhaho agreement heshiis محمود نور هذا أنا كصومالي قبضي صعب معها. dad badan ay soo wacay oo waxay leeyihiin Ilhan dawladda Mareykanka in aan la hadashid waaye dawladda Mareykanka maxay ka qabanaysaa jawaabteedu waxay ahayd dawladda Mareykanka waxay ka qabanaysaa wixii anaga aan dhahno dawladda Mareykanka qabo.
Yeah.
All right, so
go ahead.
Can you back it up?
Yeah. I'm your audio guy. Hold on, here it comes.
I was still reading that, yeah.
This is a real pain in the ass, y'all. I don't know what site this is, but it sucks. Hold on. Is this Twitter? Yeah, Twitter's not renowned for this. Let me put this one up here.
waxaan nahay dad isjecel hadda aniga Soomaaliga
Is that it? Which one did you want?
No,
Little
it's where
forward.
the
No, it's further
government.
forward.
Yeah, a little forward.
Yep.
I'm sorry, guys. This is a real
You're
crappy
fine.
player on Twitter. Just tell me what the first line is.
Okay, so I think all right, so I got it on my phone. Hold on. My answer to Somalians was that the U.S. government will only do what Somalians in the U.S. tell them to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the very.
You just said it.
So she wants Somalians to tell the United States
Mm-hmm.
what to do, and they're supposed to just what, jump when you say how high. That's the kind of attitude that no.
Okay.
Obviously, Leroy.
So, we were thinking yes, but now that you so emphatically said no, I happen to agree.
Wait, are you telling me we don't listen to another country on how to do stuff?
I
Right?
think it's a bold stance. I think it's a very unpopular opinion, but damn it, we're behind you.
Yep.
Here it is.
Actually, you can just leave it right there. This is another important one. They will do what we want and nothing else. They must follow our orders, and that is how we will safeguard the interest of Somalia. Now, I want to remind folks, this is a U.S. Congresswoman who is supposed to be representing somewhere around Minneapolis, but everything that she wants is Somalia and their interest, and how do we safeguard Somalia? Just some food for thought. Sorry.
What was the next part you want to get to so we don't have to listen to her guttural bullshit? Do you remember?
Those were here. I'll watch it on here.
No, it's cool. I want to watch it. I want to make sure that U.S. is country where one of your daughters, myself, is Congress representative.
Mm-hmm.
Then she says, for as long as I am in Congress, Somalia will never be in danger. Its waters in the ocean will not be stolen by Ethiopia.
Yeah, that's a good part too.
See, sorry, go ahead.
No, go, James. Anybody?
No, I was just, that's a good part too, where she's talking. All of it's horrifying, but this really was like a gut punch because she's talking about like their borders and they need to take back, I guess, this part of land
Ethiopia.
where it's, from my understanding, I'm not a geographical like savant at all. I guess part of the land between Ethiopia and Somalia is like no one knows who it belongs to, but Somalia wants
so
it.
they're talking about Somaliland.
Yeah. Is that what it's that's called, right?
It's
But like the
it's
Ethiopians want
it's
to be
land
there.
sorry. Was that rhetorical? If not, I'll try to answer it. Seriously.
Me? I don't know. Did I ask a question?
I was wondering if
Oh.
your question was rhetorical
No, I don't. I have no idea. Like, yeah, I really have no idea what that's true or not.
Mike, go ahead. Explain the situation, why it's contested land between Ethiopia and Somalia.
So basically, like where Somaliland is, if you think of a 7, the top part is where Somaliland would be. Somalia is broken up into, and I want to say it's like 50 or 60 different tribes.
Yep.
So the tribe that's up in the northern part, and I want to say it's Hawaii, is one of the major tribes up there. They ethnically are more Ethiopian. However, they have been a part of Somalia since the beginning of it just because of how the tribes have just kind of laid out. But if you're talking about the actual Somali government, which I'm using very loose terms in that sense, they will sometimes put them in with the actual country, but any kind of relief or the government up there, Somaliland has its own government. So that would basically being like Texas has its own national government along with its local that runs it, but then they still say they're part of Somalia, but they would identify more with Ethiopia. But the rest of the world will actually think that it's a part of Somalia itself, even though tribally it's not.
And it is contested land, right? So there's the different tribes make different claims to certain areas of that land, and there has been conflict between those two countries for almost as long as Muslims and Jews. So this is a very old fight. And something else we have to consider is it's broken up very much like the West Bank is. And the West Bank is not a singular territory. It's just West Bank, like Los Angeles. It's essentially Orange County, Los Angeles County. And inside there, you've got Torrance, you've got Valencia, you've got Topanga, you've got Northridge, you've got, I mean, you just go on and on and on. There's just San Diego. I mean, literally it stops right down on Oceanside is pretty much where Los Angeles ends, all the way up to like past Anaheim, past Venice, past so many different, I mean, it's huge. In Los Angeles, to give you an idea, to drive around Denver, Colorado before traffic, now it's horrible, it would take you 4 hours. You go on C470 to 25, 25 to 70, 70 to, what was the one? What was that? Yeah, the E470, then C470.
yeah.
Right. So you would just basically do the loop, 4 hours. To drive around the city of Los Angeles with no traffic will take you 24 hours, take a full day. That's how freaking big Los Angeles County is. So when you look at West Bank, it's not about size, but it's how it's broken up. And there are just many different sects and also forms of government and forms of the way that they run their town or municipality, like a district or a township. But then some of them run it like a constable based or a national form of leadership. It's just there's different ways that West Bank runs, so it makes it very complicated for anyone to actually get anything done there because there's so many different facets of government. Somalia and Ethiopia are built the same way, so it gets very, very complicated. That's the long way around the barn. Did I miss anything, Mike?
Nope.
Okay, so who is next?
Leroy.
Go ahead, Leroy.
Well, my biggest concern here is that, to Mike's point, is that you have Ilhan Omar, who seems to be more concerned with contested lands in Ethiopia than representing the people of the 5th District of Minnesota. And I just, if you live there, if you live in Minnesota and you're looking for help from within your government, you're looking for some sort of local representation, and then you hear this and you're like, wait a minute, nobody gives a shit about what's happening. I want to know what's going on with my water. I want to know what's going on with my school district. I want to know what's going on with my taxes locally. I don't give a shit about what's happening in Ethiopia. That should be your main concern. You need to vote her out, folks.
I got a thought on this.
I'd love to hear it.
Cool.
To be president, you have to have been born in the U.S. or one of its territories.
Correct.
I think that should be the rule for all Senate and all Congress because they're in charge of our country. And that's because you got Ilhan Omar here who doesn't give a rat's ass about the U.S. She cares about Somalia and everything back home. And her entire time in Congress, she doesn't care about us. She doesn't care about Minnesota.
Right.
Her home country. That person
Oh, I thought you
should
said
not
something
be
else.
in. Yeah, that person should not be in our government making rules about our country. She needs to be in the government in her own country.
Oh.
That's just me.
Totally agree. Yeah.
All right, Amy, you got anything else?
I will just say, let's point out the obvious. She's speaking in, I'm guessing it's Somalian. I don't know the language.
There's like 30 languages
like,
there.
yeah,
It's we don't know which dialect it was.
Speaking in a language.
It's Portuguese.
Clearly not English. Okay. Clearly not English. You're
It's a
addressing the
mixture of
people.
Swahili. Go ahead. Sorry.
Right. But she's addressing the people in America, knowing this is being recorded and broadcasted throughout our country. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I think everyone in America, I mean, not everybody right now, but everyone probably understands English for the most part. Maybe they don't speak it well, but most people do understand English. Like that's like my Spanish. I can understand it. I cannot speak it worth crap, but I understand most of it. So I think, why are you addressing people in a language that's not English? Why are you talking about the borders of a country that you have ties to, but not the borders of the country that you are currently serving? There's so much wrong with this. And when she was question about it, she was just like, well, it's, it was, they were typing it out verbatim, I guess, to what she was saying, but it wasn't like fully interpreted. But she was like, but that's really the gist of it. Yeah. Like she stood behind what she was saying. Like, no, there was no like malinterpretation. Like, this is what I meant. Like, I'm all for Somalians. Screw everybody else. Like, it's just a gut punch. Like, get her out. Send her back to Somalia. She loves it so much. Go home.
Yeah.
So one thing
Yeah.
I'll add on to that is the reason like she was likely doing that is because of the is this one of yours? Oh, sorry. You know what, Matt? Here, you go first,
Son
and
of
then
a
I'll go.
bitch.
Look at Matt.
No, you
Jesus.
go first. Go ahead. Sorry, I don't
Dude,
want to take your thunder.
listen. Okay, here's the thing. I don't like going
Stop
last.
taking my points.
Twice. No, just
Nope.
last twice. That's not fair. Because
No,
I'm
no,
like,
you're going, then I'm going last.
okay.
I haven't done.
No.
it.
I want you to go. That's your point. Make it, because I think, because I'm going to be bullish on this. Like I completely disagree with the panel, and I disagree with every Republican, and I despise this fucking woman. I despise her like nobody's business. But I want to hear your point, and I'm just playing. So go ahead, and then I'll chime in.
All right. So I'm just doing this one point. I'll give it back to you. Then I'll take it last.
Sure, go ahead.
So the reason she's likely speaking Swahili or whatever it is because the refugees that come from Somalia are all repatriated in and around Minneapolis and Minnesota, which I still think is hilarious that you take them from Somalia, one of the hottest places on earth, to Minnesota. But that's where they all go. So there is it's highly likely that they do not speak English, or most of them don't. It's going to be the younger ones that actually speak English. So she's going to have to speak that to communicate with all these people who are voting in these elections. So Matt, please take it away, and then I'll take it back when you're done.
Thank you, Rashid Tlaib, for
Thank Allah.
Yes, thank Allah. So this isn't going to be popular. Nobody's going to like this. I promise you, nobody's going to like this. But you know what? I have to go through the Constitution of the United States, and unfortunately, 96% of our district is repatriated, immigrated, former Somalians. And this is what happens when we have uncontested immigration, is we change the face of our country. And just because her district essentially are foreigners who have become Americans, and let's face it, a lot of them aren't. A lot of whom are overstayed visas, and there's an illegal problem with overstayed visas too, and they should leave our country. This is the truth. And just like we have Chinatown, just like we have places that are predominantly Jewish, we have Middle Eastern and Arabic neighborhoods. We have Korean neighborhoods that are completely taken over, Filipino neighborhoods. And I'm talking where all the signs, all the music, all the languages, everything is in that language. We are a melting pot of society. And I certainly am not going to blame Somalians, even though not my favorite country or people, to be honest with you. They are Americans, at least from the standpoint of the elected representative, who is a traitorous bitch who I think is a horrible human being and should face treason charges based upon her attitude towards her country. She's doing her job, which is to represent the best interest of her constituents. That is her job. And her interest of her constituents is to protect Somalia and to not allow any more land to be given to Ethiopia, those heathens who all deserve to die on the end of a pike. Her words, not mine. Her thoughts, not mine. Those aren't her words, but those are certainly her thoughts. She would probably be more than happy to have people clack off a vest into Ethiopian restaurants and parliament and other places in order to express her distaste for Ethiopia and anyone who isn't like her. She is a racist. She is an ethnocentric twat, and I despise her. But in this case, she's doing exactly what she was elected to do. And God forbid that we have representatives that actually do what their constituents want. And whether we like that or not, nobody's going to say anything about people panning for the Jews right now in Israel. Not one person's going to complain that there's interests that are more important to the United States government right now for Jews and Judaism versus our own border. Certainly there's a group of Ukrainians nobody seems to care, and people who are supporting Ukraine and putting billions there and can't protect our own border. So, I think it's very careful that we are not hypocrites and pretend that we are not involved in world stage affairs. And it's predominantly our senators, state representatives who are pushing these these initiatives. Do I agree with it? No, but it is, she's doing her job, even though I despise that woman.
Okay, that's fair. Amy, what you got?
So I just want to. This is more like a question for y'all. Like we live near DC. I'm not familiar. I know there's like Chinatowns all over in different major places, but like in DC we have Chinatown. There's Greektown. Like we have all the different little subsects, right? I feel like the people in those areas that are 100% like from that culture, they have immigrated here legally or not. I don't know. I've never asked, but I feel like for the most part, yes, when they are in those areas, I mean, that's part of they're saturated with their culture, but you take them outside that area and they are assimilating to the rest of like the Western culture here in the United States. I think I mean,
For what
even
example?
here,
Give me an example.
I mean, some of my friends are, I'll just give you, okay, so even closer to where we live, I don't want to say the area, there's a huge population of huge like Asian, Indian culture, like hugely. And some of those, like some of the neighborhoods are like
Why don't you want to say
very
it?
much.
I'll say it.
What? I'm not going to say it.
Why won't you say it? It's a big area. Who cares? It's not like they can't Google it in 5 seconds. The demographics of Virginia.
Because of my affiliation with like real estate. I don't know if it's like,
Fair enough.
I don't want to be
Fair
accused
enough.
of like steering or
fair enough.
redlining or something.
You're right. You're totally fair. Go ahead. I won't say it either.
One of my favorite places to work though, and I'm not even exaggerating, I love that area. I can't live there because it's too populated for me, but you go to these neighborhoods, it's like being in that world. Like, but hey, I work with some of those people that live there. There's some of them, one of them happens to be one of my very dearest friends in the entire world. Like they might have their cultures in their little communities and where they are, but they go to work like everybody else.
I was talking to Mike while you were talking, so I apologize because Leroy's going to lose this conversation, but he's fired up right now, and I can absolutely see he wants to like tear my face off with a freaking rake. And that's okay because that's what we do. And he's going to lose the conversation because he's going to act on emotion versus fact. No. But Mike, go ahead. You go first, and then we'll do it. And Amy, I agree with you from the sense that there are pockets that are subcultures of people's inherited values and passion. Little Italy, whatever. Okay, the Koreatown. But there are specific cities across the United States that are designed for only that ethnic group, and everything from the bus ads to the, like I said, the music, from the buildings outside are all in a certain language. That is very different than what we are experiencing when we've got a high ethno diverse city or town where people are kind of amalgamating and going into one area. Those people are not assimilating in any way, shape, or form. And going to Chinatown, they're not assimilating. They're Chinese who live in America. They do not consider themselves Americans. They will never consider themselves American. No, they don't. Because I've lived in all over the countries and I've seen these, because the thing is the first thing you know when you go overseas is when you come home, you can look at these pockets and go, this is not the United States. They have an embassy in those cities. They have representation. Their government's represented. And if we're going to sit here and say, well, that's Leroy's argument, I'll let him do that. Mike, go. Your floor. I know you wanted to go. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No worries. All right. So one thing I just kind of want to point out, for when you bring over a large group of refugees, especially for Somalia, what people have to understand is that there's only two ways to really make it in Somalia. You either have to be extremely corrupt in the government, or you have to side with Al-Shabaab and or ISIS, depending on which area you're actually in. Now, once a large group actually gets repatriated, what do you think the U.S. is known for? Just like all the day workers or illegals that are coming across the border, what are they doing? They're taking a lot of the money that they make and sending it back. So I would love to see the FBI actually do their job, CONUS, instead of screwing around overseas, and tell me how much money is coming out of these Somali communities that is going back directly to Al-Shabaab that we know about and they're not doing anything about.
Tell them CONUS. Tell them the definition. You're talking military terms.
Sorry, CONUS, continental U.S.
Yeah, what's that?
I didn't know. So
Leroy's
thank you.
fired
I
up.
Lainey and
didn't
I were
know.
like, I have no idea.
Leroy
Yeah,
is
we're like,
so fired
oh.
up right now. He's saying he's not. He's
No, I'm not.
so fired up. Bullshit.
No.
I know you really well, dude. You are fired the frack up. Just
No, I'm not. I'm not.
all right, Mike. Go ahead and finish up.
So, and I would love to see how many organizations or NGOs that are covered here.
Non-government officials.
Sorry, my bad.
That one I knew.
Oh, there you go. See, some
She's
people
been
know
on.
those.
She's been on the show
I'm
long
learning.
enough. She's heard me say it a million times.
That they are either supporting or doing events for that are sending money back that is going directly to terrorism.
Right.
I would love to see if the FBI would actually do their job to see what is actually happening with that, along with the rest of the squad, on how much money they're actually supporting those type of organizations. So if you have members of Congress that are going back, and if they want to support their communities and that's what they're doing, constitutionally, I got it. I understand that works. But when you start putting those interests, all right, so let me ask it this way. What interest in Somalia will actually better the U.S. by us continuing to send money, troops, and training? Like, what does Somalia have that's actually going to bolster or improve the U.S.?
Destruction
Yeah.
of Al-Shabaab would be nice.
That's never going to happen.
It's not going
Yeah.
to.
No one cares.
It's
Well,
I know.
The only reason that they might care is because Al-Shabaab was the last terrorist organization to get a bomb on an airplane and it successfully blow up.
he's entrapping you. You see how he asks a question and then he wait. That's what I do. So when you guys get mad at me, he just did it to you. He wants you to answer the question so he can tell you you're wrong. I do it all the time.
I mean, I'm just saying
That's my boy, Blue.
That is the only reason that people care about Al-Shabaab, and the only other reason that anyone cares about Somalia is because they actually opened up an embassy, and I want to say it was in 15 or 16 is when they reopened the large embassy. That is the only reason that they care.
Well, it's a large portion of the United States considering demographics. It is. Muslims are the largest demographic of people in the world.
Yep.
So
But they also don't care about Somalia.
I understand they don't care about Somalia, but the thing is, you know what? I'm going to pause because Leroy's got his thing. It's a good question. It's not all about me. So go ahead. Anything else you got? And then obviously we want to go ahead and give the hot tamale in the lower corner because
Let's give the podium to our Navy.
I saw your face.
Navy brethren.
I saw your face.
Leroy Jenkins.
Leroy Jenkins. I mean, the only thing you didn't do is
first of all,
okay. He was like this. You look like Richard Nixon. I'm not a crook. It's what you did when I said it.
First of all, Matt, thank you very much for sharing your dumbass opinion.
Yeah. So easy. So
Kidding,
easy.
I'm kidding.
You don't need to be kidding.
I am
It's great.
totally
Just go ahead and back it up.
Now, I will say this, okay? The moment we, as a nation, right, we elect our Congress people, we elect our representatives to start looking out for the interests in our wherever the hell we came from. God, be it, if it's Hungary or anywhere in Europe, Germany, wherever. I think that's a losing argument, and I'll say why. If there was a congressperson on the opposing side who happened to have been from Ethiopia and is saying that he wants to put policies in place that will specifically aid Ethiopian efforts to get some sliver of land back from Somaliland or back so that they can have even a couple of miles worth of coastline, right? Then we run into this situation where all of a sudden we're not so concerned with the Americans that live in the districts for which these people are representative, right? But now we're looking at the Horn of Africa and halfway around the welfare of things halfway around the world. And I think that's a losing argument. If you're elected
whose argument? You're saying my argument's a losing argument?
I'm saying any argument where we're kind of Congress people specifically, let this kind of thing go to the president. Let this kind of thing go to military advisors. But when just imagine that if we did have a congressperson who really was from Ethiopia or who really was from Djibouti or any of the other areas, all of a sudden nothing happens nothing happens to benefit the people that are living here in the United States, that are living in those districts, right?
Right.
All of a sudden, it becomes about these areas that are halfway around the world. I think that's a dangerous.
So you said if we have an example, do you mind if I just ask a qualifying
Yeah.
question? When you say if, it's almost like if my grandmother had balls, she'd be my grandfather. It's a hypothetical, but we do have a real world example. Let me give you one. Are you ready? Palestina and Jerusalem / Israel. There's your example.
Right.
What's your take on that?
Right.
I'm waiting.
That should be left to the president and military advisors. I don't think. I mean, obviously, everyone wants to,
How does the president and the military advisors get that? How does the president and the military advisors get their petitions and concerns from the American people?
Their petitions.
Yes, their arguments.
Just the general
petition. A
general public.
A petition, a movement, or a writ, or an order that demands.
Are you setting him up?
Yes, because he's wrong.
He always does this.
No, I'm not. You're the one who decided to jump into the fray. Don't cry about it now. Let's get into this.
I'm not crying about shit.
I'm asking you a direct question. How does the president get his information from the constituents and the American people when they petition the government for some change that's necessary based upon the level of government that's required? How do they do that?
I mean, that would be pulled from their local politicians, their local Senate and Congress.
Not Senate. Senate represents a state. So it would be who? Whom?
The Congress.
State legislature. And what's Ilhan Omar's title?
I know what you're saying.
Okay, so how is it a losing argument that she's representing her people, whether those interests are overseas or not?
She's not.
It's the
That's the point. That's my point. She's not representing the people in her district.
Those are the people in her district. It's 96% Somali, and she was talking to them in their language, and that is their concern. So it may be the narrative or not. It doesn't matter whether it's right or wrong. We can disagree with her politics completely, and that's an argument.
Sure.
But calling her a traitor or say that she doesn't have the platform and she's not using it properly, she is, because it's just like somebody in Old Town St. Petersburg who is Jewish descent, who calls upon their House of Representatives to go ahead and petition the government for more funds to Israel because they have friends and family back home. Since when are we just a nationalist state and don't necessarily recognize that there's people here who have world views that are impacted by the United States government? I'm just asking what is, okay, here's my thing. It's not a moral dilemma. She's wrong. She shouldn't be saying these things. She's promising for campaign votes. That's what politicians do. We know it's bullshit and she shouldn't. She should be focused on the United States. But is what she's doing wrong, or is it that we don't like the topic that she's portraying?
Oh, you and I have run into this before where you have kind of, used your words very carefully to kind of say, look, is she wrong or is she? No. In my opinion, she is wrong. She should be representing the people in her district, not people halfway around the world.
Those are the people in her district, though. That's my argument.
Well, can I ask a question?
Sure. Everybody can ask. I want everyone involved.
Well, I just want to make sure I'm understanding. Like Leroy, and I might be wrong. I'm just saying. So if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. Leroy, I think, is saying the people in her district here are in America, so they should be worried about the American things that are bothering them, not the Somalia problems in Somalia. And so I think what he's saying is she should be representing her district here in America, not in Somalia. Like,
who are we to tell the constituents what they should be worried about?
Well, I mean,
hold on. No, this is a conversation. Listen, you're not going to like my answers.
No,
You've all been on the other end when somebody calls in. So just go with this, because we're all going to get to a place where we're going to all learn something. This isn't personal. I'm arguing these. Listen, this is Ilhan fucking Omar. I have spent 17 hours of hate-filled videos on this woman, and I'm defending her because I believe in the Constitution of the United States. And I believe everyone on this panel is arguing because she is Somalian. She is a supporter of Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Hezbollah, Hamas, and she's a horrible person. But that doesn't mean she doesn't get the right to represent her constituents. Now, Olivia, go.
So, okay. Being a representative of the U.S. government, I know you're supposed to, what your constituents want. But you are in the United States government.
Yes.
And you are supposed to do what is best for the United States.
No, you're not. No, you are not. Not as a state legislature. You are absolutely not required to do what's best for the United States government. Absolutely not.
Because if they're doing that, how many other senators have taken either bribes, kickbacks, or
Yes.
anything else from so many other countries?
Yes. And not only that, here's the thing, folks,
Isn't that just as wrong, though?
No, I didn't say. Actually, no. You always do this, Leroy. You always put me in a situation whether it's a moral argument or a facilitation argument.
No, just saying.
So no. Let me answer your
just as wrong
question.
too,
You
right,
asked it.
Mike?
Let me ask it. Let me answer it. Here's the point I'll make is that the state legislature controls the purse strings. Congress decides how money is distributed and vote based upon that. So any money that would go in overseas, we may not like it because I think all the money should stay home, but it's not. It's being sent overseas. And we are literally donating billions and trillions of dollars to 167 different sovereign countries on this planet. So we can't sit here and pretend, well, she should be focused on the United States. Yes, she should be, but that's not what those people are focused on. They want to make sure that their homeland is protected because their loyalty isn't to the United States. The better life is here. Their heart is not here. Their heart is there, and they want to blow us up. They hate us. And she is selling them exactly what got her elected. She's running for office. She's not running for moral superiority. This is what she believes because she's one of them. And unfortunately, they live here. But Congress controls the purse string. So you can't hear and say out of one side of your mouth that we get to support Israel, we support Ukraine, that we support the movement into South Africa, the expansion of territories and the expansion of bases, because that's where the next world war is going to be fought, is over Africa. And we're making these invested interests. We can't talk about Japan. We can't talk about Germany. We can't talk about Bahrain because these bases are there to protect American interests. So if we're going to do that, then you have to allow her to do her job, even though we despise her and what she thinks, right or wrong.
So yes, but that's where I'll push back on that of, other than the U.S. troops and U.S. diplomats being there, we don't have any interest there. If you pulled them out, there would be no reason for us to be there.
Sure. Is there any reason for us to be in Libya when we're in Libya? No. You do have a reason to be in Somalia.
I'm not talking about Libya.
Somalia is one of the largest terrorist harbors in the world. Now,
but the U.S. does not care about that.
You're right. That's what I was just going to say. But that's a reason to be there. So we can sit here and pretend that Libya, Somalia, that Syria, that these areas were not a focus for the United States and has been a focus for the United States, because they absolutely have. Otherwise, we would not have had Bosnia-Herzegovina. We wouldn't have been to Crimea. We wouldn't have been in Syria. We wouldn't be in the Ukraine right now. And we certainly would not be shoving missiles up the Houthis' asses and trying to eliminate Hamas and stand back while Israel does it while killing 40,000 people at the same time. We do care about world terrorism. We do care about it. Somalia was an absolute hotbed for it. It's why we blocked it and stopped all immigration from that country. It never should have stopped. I don't think we should allow anyone from Somalia to come into our country. I don't think anyone from a terrorist nation. I don't want to see any Iranians here. I don't want to see Yemenis. I don't want to see Jordanians. I don't want to see anybody from the UAE. I don't want any of those people in my country. Sorry. But guess what? They're here. And now that they're here, she has a right to represent what they say, because that's what we asked for, right? We want legislators who absolutely represent the people. We don't want editorialization. We don't want a bunch of talk show hosts. Go there and demand what your people want, come hell or high water. And if they vote you down, go back and tell your constituents, we'll try next time. I fought for you. They said no. That's what the government is supposed to be. So how can we be pissed off? I don't know.
Well, see, that part, like, I understand that, yes, she is accurately representing her constituents. That part I got no issue with.
Yep.
And I guess in this, my issue is less with her. It's more of the process and the government that allowed her to, yes, one, get here, but then allow her to stay in Congress when you damn well know she is financially supporting terrorism and they won't do anything about it.
There's no doubt in my mind. That's completely different conversation. Go ahead, Leroy. Yeah, it's one I recognize, Mike.
My only other concern is when we were saying, "Hey, look, we don't think that the United States has anything of value in that area. That we don't have anything that we hold dear in that area." And I would just point out DJ. The base at DJ, which is only a couple of 100 miles away, seems to be one of the biggest Navy bases in the world right now. China has a base there. everything that goes through the BAM is heavily monitored. That's just the nature of the game right now. So I would say that
And why
we
is
do
it
have
monitored,
interest.
Leroy? Why is it monitored, real quick? Just help people understand, why is it considered one of the hotbeds? Because of why?
And what is
there's
DJ?
a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
Djibouti.
So
what's the
DJ?
Hold on a second.
So
I know I'm trying.
I have our next game show already sorted out.
Time out. We are framing the question for people who have, first of all, no idea what DJ is. No, Djibouti. It sounds like a rap song that Ben Shapiro just did with McDonald's. So slow down. And these people don't understand because they don't know. So please explain it, what we're talking about, so they know why. Okay, cool. Thanks.
So sorry about that, folks. So when I'm talking about DJ, I'm talking about that's an abbreviated country code for Djibouti, Africa. It is to the northwest of. It's actually north of Ethiopia, and the United States has a large Navy presence there, a large military presence there. It's actually a kickoff point for some of the more higher end type military operations that we would conduct. Additionally, right across from the bay from there is Yemen, which has been a hotbed for harboring terrorists for a long time. Saudi Arabia is north of that. So that whole area is very, it's strategically important. So when we're saying that Somalia, that there isn't really anything there, that's only partly true.
Why?
So I would say, no, we don't. In Somalia, there's nothing. Djibouti, the reason why that base is there is for the trade routes and to protect everything that runs through
why
the canal.
The BAM.
Why? Answer the question. Why are trade routes important? Why is the thoroughfare important? Why are those countries important? Tell me why we're protecting it. Who are we protecting it from, y'all?
Well, it's
The
exactly what's
Somali
happening right now.
pirates.
Well, it's pirates.
That's what I was thinking, Amy.
So, and
The Houthis.
And the Houthis.
Every
Yeah,
other
all the
terrorist
pirates.
organization
thank you
that
very
wants to
much.
stop global
So
trade.
don't sit here and tell me there's no reason to be there. Like I said, the number one reason we're there is terrorism, and you guys just proved my point.
Well, and you could do that from Djibouti and be just fine.
Sure you can.
And you could run all those operations out of there and not be in Somalia. But we're in Somalia and they've been handcuffed that is still allowed all these operations to happen. And we have basically been there in a semi-permanent presence since the early 90s. And this is all of this has been allowed to continue because no one has actually cared enough about the terrorism to actually squash it. They are just doing enough to be like, okay, it's calmed down enough. They're like, okay, we can accept the losses that we're getting, but not actually take care of it.
And the very big difference is we can hit Somalia with drones anytime we want and kill 10,000 civilians, and nobody gives a shit. Exactly. That's why we're in Somalia and not in another country. And you both know that. So, like, I would appreciate it if we would respect the level of intelligence on the panel. Everybody here has a piece. I understand what you're saying. You change the topics for me, but that's okay. It still comes down to this. We do have active interest in the area. We have absolute reason to be in Somalia because we can do whatever we want and hit and maintain that area and watch that area to strike it down. It's essentially it's prevention. It's damage control. It's not fire prevention. We allow it to pop up and then we strike it down and nobody gives a shit. Every other country feeds off of Somalia for their terrorist organizations and their manpower. We control it from there. So we may not care about it every single day, but we certainly did when the war on terror took place, and Somalia was one of the places we were hitting regularly. Okay, so now that we've established that, the question is, do people in America who fled Somalia for these reasons, fled the pirates, fled the slaves groups, fled the slave traders, fled the rapists, fled the people that would dismember arms and legs of children to make a point, and the ethnic cleansing and genocide that's gone on there, do they have a right to care about their cousins, their daughters, their grandmothers, their grandparents who are still in that country and beg from the United States for help? Do they have that option? And can they use Ilhan Omar, a piece of shit person who sleeps with her brother, who is a supporter of terrorists and unethically should not even be in the position she's in and should spend time in jail? Should she at least continue to represent her constituents? And because that's her job, yes or no?
Yes.
No.
I say yes if they're here legally. Can I add that caveat?
Yeah, you can. But see, here's the thing. According to the United States government, the U.S. Census does not count if illegal immigrants are not. They're immediately Americans if they're polled because they didn't allow that shit to happen. It's just another way Democrats expand representation. And it's why California just got 5 seats because they don't put it on the census to say, are you legal or illegal? It's actually against the Constitution. Same thing happens in Somalia. Are the Somalian people who are over here overstaying on visas? I'm with you, Amy. I'm with you, Leroy. I'm with you, Mike. I'm with you, Liv. My point is, the question still stands. Should she represent her people or no? Mike says yes. Yep. Amy says it depends. Olivia.
I agree with Amy. If they're legal, if they can vote legally.
If she represents constituents. Not all of them are illegal. Not all of them are legal. Most of them are. The question is, the ones who can vote are, is she supposed to represent her people? Yes or no? That's the question. That's the only question.
Yeah,
right
she's
now.
supposed to represent her people. Absolutely.
Leroy.
And she should not be in our government.
She is supposed to represent the 5th District of Minnesota.
That's right.
And she is.
She is.
We just happen to hate what she's doing.
That's right.
She is.
That's right. So it's like the Klan members who were freaking all over Georgia, all over Louisiana, northern Florida, they represent their people, and they were a bunch of racist hicks. And what we didn't do is kick them all out. Go ahead. David Duke spent 30 years in Congress.
Why is Ilhan Omar the only congressperson who is actually representing her constituents and what they want?
See, and that is the hypocrisy. Boom! That's it. Drop the fucking mic because that is the hold on. That is the statement right there. The only one who is doing the job that she's supposed to as American is the most anti-American, hateful, terrorist-supporting hooker on the planet, and it makes me want to vomit in my mouth. That she's the only one doing what she was elected to do, and it makes me sick.
Most American politician we have is a Somalian.
Go ahead, Leroy.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, how do we know that 100% the people that live in the 5th district are what? They're all Somali?
Yes.
Yes. They are. There's very few. Go look it up. Right? It's like 96% of them are Somali or Somali descent or Muslim. So yeah, dude. And you know what? And here's the thing, Leroy, and I love you to death. What?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It says it's 63.6% white. 16% black, 8% Hispanic, 6% Asian.
What's the number? What are they religiously identified? Here it is. See,
everything I just said.
I know, because you're wrong.
No. Yeah, I know. I was just
give them the real numbers.
I don't know. I'm trying to look for it. Did you find something?
Yeah. Well, I've already done a show on it, so I can pull up the show. Let me just go ahead and pull it up.
Yeah,
see, the problem is that they don't ask people's ethnicity in the polling stations on the exit polls. It's against the law.
But I always love how when people go like, "Oh, you're black, you must be African." Like, well,
right, dude.
About
that doesn't mean anything.
A little over a third of Africa is black. The rest of it would be considered more Middle Eastern, in which a large portion of Somalia, that's what you're going to get.
Right.
It's not until you get down to southern Somalia in the Juba region, which is very south, basically just east of Kenya. That you're going to start getting folks that look more black than Middle Eastern. It's
so interesting when you actually look at 5th District. Do you know what they call it besides the 5th District? The Somali American District. That's the name of it. Yes, that's actually the name of it. Go ahead.
So on censusreporter.org, they're actually reporting that it really is 60% white, 17% black, 6% Asian, 10% Hispanic, and
look at the that's where you're wrong. Look at the voter registration for those color groups and tell me which one is the most heavily who votes the most in those areas.
I didn't look that up. Hold on.
It predominantly, most people in those white areas are in the outskirts and they do not vote. Registered voters who actually show up, the amount of people who are showing up, first of all, the per capita is 48,000. The median household is 77,000. It is depraved poor in these areas. Household income, 32% is under 50%. Poverty levels at 14%. Children, 17%. Seniors, 11%. And you're looking at Marital status, 40% are married, 60% are single. So it is a predominantly heavy district of white voters who are not registered, and you essentially have the Minneapolis city, which is taking 80 to 85 to 90% of those overall votes. It literally covers Minneapolis, brother. That's why the 5th district is heavily Somalian and sympathizers, and those people are motivated to vote. 706,000 population. So you're talking about 20% African. We don't have religion because they don't break that down, but you have to go ahead and assume 17%. You got to hit the other category and put that in there. So you're talking 22%. So you're looking at basically 140,000 people in Minneapolis are going to vote Democrat.
You know,
and
shout out to you, Matt.
Not only Democrat, but socialist.
So quick shout out to you, Matt, because and folks, this is why you tune into this show, right? Here I am thinking, you know what? We'll go ahead and look up the demographic profile of the people that live in that area, but that's not the same as the people that vote, and that's the distinction that Matt is trying to make. So kudos to you.
Yeah, no, and kudos to you, man, for sticking to your point, because I agree. Listen, if you have me and I have a gun there and there's a firing line, I'm pulling that trigger right along with you. But I have to stick to my scruples, and always the Constitution is what we focus on. You taught me this, Leroy, more than anybody, and I stick to it. And the state representatives, no matter how much we may hate what they think, they represent the people, and it's their job to do that. It doesn't matter whether we agree with those people or not. It makes me sick. However, you should hold her accountable for the things that she's doing to betray our country for shizzle. Okay? Wow. That was fun. I like that one.
That was a good one.
That was a good one. That's the way they should all be. They should all, just respect, right? Just a good conversation. I love you, my brother.
Love you.
Aww.
Go give Mike a hug, too. He make him uncomfortable. He hates it. He loves kids, actually.
Oh, yes. So much fun. Oh, thank you.
Perfect.
That's...
Oh, my God.
What?
Oh. Mike, are you
what
not
we,
a kid
just
person?
blew him off.
No.
Just like, get away from me, kid.
Ethan doesn't want to invade his space. He knows. He thought I was kidding. So if Mike would have tried to give him a hug, Ethan would have given him the biggest one. That was not what that was about. He's just respected his space.
Yeah,
all right.
Ethan got a haircut on Saturday, and he's had long hair. He hasn't cut it in like 2 months. Some girl told him he looked fine today at school.
Fine. Lay me
Little
down.
5th grader. You look kind of
I
fine.
love it. I love it.
We don't have a lot of time. We were 15 minutes late, so I am going to put 15 minutes back on the clock because we owe that to y'all. This next one, Liv, could you turn the heat down somewhere lower than orchids?
Heat's not even on right now. Trust me, I can feel it when it's on.
You know what?
Blowing right there.
Fan is coming on. Fantastic, because
Yeah,
Mike and I are over here like we feel like we're in Djibouti. And I know it's not Djibouti, and I know it's Djibouti.
The problem with the heat is we have to have the heat on the main level in the basement so Hayden's room doesn't freeze. But it gets super hot in this room during the show, so it's
Get
like,
her
do we
heated
turn
blankets, she'll be
do we
fine.
turn
No
the
shit.
heat down so she freezes, or do we
It's
just keep it where it's supposed to
8:56.
be?
She's on the phone talking about Taylor Swift in Kansas City. I don't care if she's cold. All right,
Or the cute boy in her gym class.
we got to talk.
Have you ever been there?
Which up, Kansas City?
DJ, were you there?
No. I can either confirm or deny. I can either confirm or
Mike?
deny.
Next question.
Yeah, I can't confirm or deny.
I've never been there.
I never.
Just-
I mean, either.
just
I never
saying
even
it.
heard. I didn't know what GJ was. So there
Go
you
It's
ahead.
Africa. No one cares about
Leroy,
it.
take your story.
God already left Africa.
Leroy, take your story, though. We want to hear your story. I just can't confirm or deny, which you know what that means, and everyone else does too. So go ahead.
My story, and I honestly, I only had a quick couple of minutes to pull up the kind of the latest on this one. I was listening to it while we were eating dinner. Was the drone attack that happened in Jordan?
No, is that yours or is that Mike's?
No,
It's Leroy's.
Yep.
Leroy, go get it, buddy.
And for anyone who wasn't aware, recently there was a drone attack. It killed 3 Americans and injured another 40. This particular story was one that was a little bit closer to my heart, as I have a relative who's actually at that base right now. And this was one of those cases where, as we were listening to to the political response, I just became more and more inflamed about it. Basically, the long and the short is that there was a drone attack. The reason it was allowed, the drone was allowed to get as close as it was and then eventually make impact onto the base, is because it was misidentified as potentially an American that was returning back from a patrol, something along those lines. They're still trying to confirm this. Again, I was only listening to this about 15 minutes before the show, we got on the show. So the political response that I was listening to seemed like it was one of like, well, we will definitely respond in kind at the place and time of our choosing. But in the meantime, it was like there was not a lot of effort to condemn the event almost. That was the vibe that I got, and that was just something that torqued me off. That's all.
First of all, I'm very happy with my cover to this. That you guys, it's very clever. I have a feeling that you would appreciate it. I'm going to flash it real quick while Leroy is talking. But this was my collusion course.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's good.
this is over on the DUM
Collusion
show. I
course.
did this article. This breaks down quite a few different things, and I just want to add so you guys can follow along. This focuses on Tower 22. This focuses on the strike, but more importantly, it really focuses on the JCPOA, or the Iran nuclear deal, and how it has funded this area for terrorism. So you can go along and watch this or read this if you want. It's over on the dumshow.com under news. Leroy, go ahead. So this thing, was it squawking or not squawking?
That's the thing. We don't know. None of that has been released yet. I haven't even looked this up on the appropriate channels yet.
Yeah.
That being said, it doesn't matter. I legitimately have a cousin that's over there, and I was concerned about it. Him and his wife, they live about 40 miles north of me, and for a hot minute, it wasn't about the politics. It wasn't about Iran. It wasn't about the people of Jordan or anything like that. It was just like, fuck, is Joey all right? That was the first thing that came to my mind. Is my relative all right? And then all these other questions started kicking in. Like, well, wait, where the hell did this come from? How did this happen? And for anyone who isn't really aware, this kind of thing typically gets flown out of Syria. That has not yet been confirmed.
Fucking ass.
Good pop-up.
I mean, just like fucking porn right here. It's like, do you want to do a donkey?
What's your browser history?
I pay for this fucking site too. I give them an annual fucking fee that's like the highest level you can go, and they still put ads on here that I just don't even understand why. Okay. Go ahead, Leroy. I'm showing the territory.
Miss?
So I was showing the territory. You got to watch it in replay. I was showing the territory, and this is the site, one of the sites that we use, that you use too, which is Live UA Map, and it popped up some hot chick in a skimpy outfit, and I'm like, son of a bitch.
Nice.
So anyway, go ahead.
And so again, the political response has been more like, well, we'll respond when we get around to it, more or less. And that was just something that I put a bad taste in my mouth. That was all I had.
Well,
Matt, you wanna
and do you
go?
know?
Yeah, I'll just go
I
ahead.
just have a quick question about your cousin, because I didn't ask before the show because I'm an asshole. Sorry, but do you know if your cousin is okay?
he's
You have
fine.
no idea.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Nope, he's
That's
good.
good. I mean, it's still sad for the other families who, I don't know if they know yet about the people who passed. It's horrible. But
Those
They do.
names were literally being released as I was getting ready to log on to the show.
So I just have a couple of questions. More than anything. So especially for the viewers, obviously this is being laid at Iran's. You can just affirmative, or can't confirm. This is being laid at Iran's doorstep, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Through proxy, obviously, by Syria, which is the IRGC, which is in Syria, which is the Iranian Republican Guard. and they are a terrorist organization, whether you think so or not, because they run proxy terrorism from Syria. And they were one of the groups that were going to go into West Bank. Remember I told you, I said Yemen was going to be the first to fire off. Yemen was my focus, south of the Red Sea. And then I also said that the IRGC would get involved soon enough because they were ultimately going to try and secure West Bank for Hamas and Palestine. This looks to be the beginning of that or something close to that effect. So the question is, can you please explain IFF transponders, which have been simplified during the 1960s, 70s, and 80s to be a simple squawk and talk that says what, and then now how advanced they've become with biosignature, with 512 megabit encryption and everything else to be basically infallible to radar. Can you explain it to everybody?
So IFF is identification friend or foe. It's something that is intended to be, it's a active signal that gets transmitted from every aircraft that basically says, look, this is the craft base, right? This is the nationality of it. And, you kind of take it from there. Here's the thing. I don't know if those are installed on drones like this. Chances are, if this was intended to be if it was intended and built as such to be a suicide drone or some sort of an offensive weapon, I don't know that they would have installed that on there to begin with.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
And I want to answer that based on what he just said. God, I love this panel. This panel's the shit. The absence of IFF is immediately assumed, according to protocol, to CENTCOM, to SAC NORAD, any aerospace, military defense with no IFF squawk and talk in a militarized zone should immediately be engaged and fired upon and shot down with all post haste. That's standard regulation.
Right.
What is your thing going off saying why wasn't it shot down? Because it's not that it doesn't have IFF, it's the fact that it doesn't have IFF, which would make everybody complete, because all American vehicles do have IFF, whether it be a plane, whether it be a tank, whether it be anything. If you're using radar or using TargNav systems, you're squawking that you are friendly, and you don't want friendly fuck to happen, and friendly fuck is friendly fire. So Leroy, tell me, or Mike, come on.
I'm just trying to think how to say this.
Tell you what.
You can tell me why it wasn't shot down immediately.
The current ROEs.
That's it.
They're so freaking gun shy that if they shot down the wrong aircraft, or if they would have done something wrong, it would look bad on the administration. So their thing is never shoot first.
That's a failure of leadership.
Yes. That is the only reason that this actually happened.
Leroy, do you concur? No. Can you concur?
No.
Okay.
No,
so
I would agree.
That's more. That's very well said, because that's opinion, folks. You see what Leroy just did? Instead of stating fact, he just stated opinion. I agree, which is not going to get him hung out to dry. So here's what it comes down to: you have a situation that you have U.S. soldiers killed. We lost 2 Navy SEALs. That I have. Okay. Olivia, Amy, you had something to say. Go ahead and say it, and then I'm going to say my part.
Me? No,
I thought
listening.
you had a question.
No, I had a question, but someone already answered it when you were talking, so it's fine.
Perfect.
I'm good.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let me get into this. Olivia knows that when the SEALs first 72 hours when they were lost, I came on and said I would not add to the context of the conversation. Why? It's because, as Mike knows and Leroy knows, it's not my story to tell, right? I'm not in command. I'm not in the game. I'm not going through this. However, if you think that I was not talking to friends who are on the teams, you're insane. I got word that the teams were officially declared dead long before the media did. And I was with Olivia, and I got all the details in a text from a friend of mine who said, you could go ahead and talk about this. Here's the information. The community knows. Community's talked about it. Community's been briefed. LLTB. Okay? So
LLTB.
long live the brotherhood.
Long live the brotherhood.
Right. So that's the information. Now, this operation was a mid-sized vessel that was chartering back and forth through undisclosed ports, and the cargo was detrimental to anybody made of flesh. I'll just say that. And the problem is that this op was ran in a situation very similar to the way this one was just run that Mike briefed us on and Leroy did.
Oh.
And where Leroy agrees and Mike confirms is run in a shoddy, half-assed Persian bazaar manner. And you do not try to put two team guys on a boat in inclement weather when you can laze that son of a bitch from the same boat and blow it to kingdom come with ordnance without getting 500 miles close to it from anything that could possibly be damaged, including that raft that they were on. You can have them come in with an SSDV off the coast, hit a rubber raft, saltwater pellets, get into position, lays that target, and you don't even need that anymore because you do it with a drone. You don't even need to put teams on a rubber raft anymore. SEALs did not need to get involved in this unless there were assets and intelligence there that they wanted. Human or electronic intelligence, probably not electronic intelligence, physical intelligence. That's why you send in two team guys, because you want them to collect and bag and tag everything in that area. So you certainly don't put them in inclement weather. You don't put them in 20-foot rolling seas. And when a team guy sets foot and gets washed overboard with rip tides that are moving at 30, 40, 50 miles an hour, sub 5 feet, you're acting in a way that is counterintuitive to slow and smooth is fast. You are rushing, you are making horrible command decisions, and this is the problem with shitty leadership, is the actual flag officers are making horrible decisions because their expertise is in stroking off political leaders versus real-time combat downrange. This is what happens when you put woke DEI leaders as flag officers instead of combat-ready, hard chargers, confirmed kill, confirmed mission, military men and women in the throne of power. The last thing I'm going to say is this. This isn't the first time. This happened with Afghanistan in the Kabul airport. This happened with putting Taliban in front of security forces. This is Joe Biden and his administration not listening to any of the officials in the intelligence agencies, including a podcast host who told you a year ago that Afghani forces were surrendering into Tajikistan and other countries a year before anything even fired off. Giving an exfilling from that airport versus Bagram Air Base. I said Kabul, switch that. Close Bagram Air Base, exfilled from Bagram, which had hundreds of terrorist attacks against it over the 21 years that Afghanistan was firing off. It was one of the most unsecure locations. Then to not put American forces and put airborne on the ground to take over that airport, to lock it down, to ensure it is swept and cleared for all anti-personnel, to make sure anyone in the region who even gets within a donkey cart away could be lit up by a 50 in a moment's notice, that you have Reaper drones on security task force, and you have every 100 feet armed soldiers ready to go and have the Marine Corps there, is the choice of how you secure that airport. They didn't do that. They gave it to Taliban and released prisoners from Bagram who ultimately came back and hit Americans. So this isn't the first time. This administration may not have run up the death tolls of other administrations, but their negligence is putrid, it's rancid, and it's ineptitude, and I'm fucking ashamed to call myself a veteran. There's my segment. I'm done. Now I'll hand it off.
All right, so a couple things to add to that. For
Besides that was damn good.
Yes,
That was
man,
really
that
good.
was amazing.
Thanks so much.
So for Afghanistan, that is what happens when you put the State Department in charge and not an actual military leader.
Yes.
Because when I initially saw that, I was on the ass of the military general that was in charge of that. And then I got to work under him and with him. And my opinion drastically changed. And then also figuring out like which the State Department was truly in charge and actually making the decisions. That is why all that went bad. Now, to Matt's point where he said that the DEI and the leaders that they're actually promoting, they're not promoting combat hard leaders. They're promoting based off race or what's going to look good politically, not combat hardened individuals that understand how to do it and how to run an operation and who can make a quick decision when it's needed. Not, well, how am I going to get my next star? And is this operation going to hurt me getting promoted? That's what's happening right now, and that's the generals that we have in place. So if you think that this is not going to happen again, you're crazy. And it doesn't matter who's the next president. The amount of individuals that you have to get out of the military right now in order to correct this is astounding.
Unbelievably astounding.
So I know when, even just my battalion, when this is back in 2012, 13, when they were having the drawdown, they kicked out almost every individual in my platoon that had combat experience. By the time we all left, there was one. There was one. Because they didn't fit this is the stereotypical Marine that we want now for what Obama pushed down. They kicked out everyone who had any type of experience. And they've been doing that ever since. And now, this is all the way from your special forces all the way down to infantry. You have folks who have never been in combat and never actually supported it. And now they're getting asked to put in a situation with leaders who have never done it. They're worried about their careers. They don't know how to make quick decisions. And all they care about is, oh, well, I got to look for that job after the military, or, oh, I want to make general, so how do I do this? Not, how do I keep all of my men safe? How do I get everybody home? And how do I actually accomplish a mission?
Don't forget staying out of the papers,
which
is the number one FN mission of every single officer, OIC right now, is stay out of the papers. Don't have your soldiers rape anybody. Don't have your soldiers go ahead and take off people's ears. Don't go ahead and have them caught, whatever. It's all about press. And it's because if you knew the amount of shit that the United States military has done overseas and some of the atrocities, you would literally throw up. And your opinion on veterans may just well change. This is now the new military, this nicer, safer, kinder military that doesn't get in the papers and doesn't discredit and dishonor and honestly destabilize relationships that the United States deem as important. Leroy, go ahead.
I will say this.
That's a good point, Mike.
I just got done doing a leadership course. Part of it is where they give you a list of items, right? And they say, all right, look, prioritize these for us. And it goes things like, mission, the safety of your men, equipment, this kind of thing. Right. And there is a right answer to this. And it's supposed to be the safety of your men first. Right. Excuse me. If you always take into account the safety of your men first, then the mission and its accomplishments, you'll never be wrong. But it just seems like in the last set of missions, some of that has just gotten lost somewhere along the way. Somewhere along the way, we started worrying about, well, let's not shoot down that drone that could be somebody else's, or let's not do this course. Let's not do this course of action because it might look bad optically from the press, from the point of view of the press. And it's like. And it's like, guys, this is not helping anybody win a war.
Yeah,
weakness never won a war, and
that's it.
And we are at a point right now where if we continue down this path, we're going to get our asses handed to us at some point because somebody knows that the military isn't running things in the military. It's the politicians and the DEI folks who are stepping in and saying, look, these are your new priorities. Let's not try and piss off everyone in Somalia, for example. So it's a problem. It's a big problem.
What's the DEI?
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Gotcha.
Essentially woke.
Yeah, that's why Lloyd Austin is Secretary of Defense right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes me worry that Ethan's got 7.5 years till he's 18 and he wants to go in the military.
Yeah.
Makes me worry a little bit. I've always supported him because he's always said he wanted to be in the military and I'm always behind him 100%, but Now I'm pulling back a little bit.
This is the way it's always been.
Yeah.
It's just been for different reasons. So
Yeah.
whether it's political, for public relations, whether it's for diversity of dollars and cents, whether it's for oil, whether it's for an imaginary line in the sand, it's always been the grunts and the fucking suits or the officer pukes, and that's the way it's always been. But this is different. This is now the Master Chiefs can be this way. The Command Sergeant Majors can be this way. And the NCOs have always, the non-commissioned officers, have always been the E ranks, have always been kind of the all-knowing, all-powerful, and they would guide. And when the officer said something stupid, they would bring in the squad and say, guys, we ain't going to fucking do any of that. Yeah. Just clean the barracks, check it off, and then we'll get the hell out of here, and then we'll go and party and get shit-faced, and then we'll call across the quarterdeck half drunk. But now it's, you'll do what your officer says, and you'll like it, or I will frickin' 13 your ass out with a chit in 2 seconds and send you back stateside, and you'll have dishonorable discharge rung up. And NCOs talking like that, it's just not. And I want to be careful because Leroy's in, but he's stateside, and he knows that it's different when you're deployed. He knows, and every story I'm hearing is overseas is completely different, and it's the overseas that has become fucking completely pussified, and they're not training these guys stateside to actually know what's going to happen over there. Leroy, we're going to just do a quick round, and then we're going to put this together and put this to bed. Great show, by the way. Leroy, you go first.
When I mobilized, that was not something that was even remotely tried to covered up. It wasn't a situation where, all right, look, these guys show up and you treat these guys with respect. They're there for a year at a crack.
Right.
They're professionals. They know what they're doing. No, that's not what happens. A lot of times these guys we get looked down upon. We get treated like shit. And in the meantime, try and defend that position. I was in this odd position of being the most senior person there, with the most experience, somebody who works in the field all the time. And my opinion was basically looked at like, you don't really count. You're just a part-timer. And it's like, and I was like, are you fist fucking me right now? Because there's no way this level of what we were doing, I got to be really careful what I say.
Yeah,
should be anything less than absolute perfection right now. And you guys are just kind of hot dogging it. You're cowboys. And I really found it to be very unprofessional.
Yeah.
Just my take.
Before we move on, someone just put in the chat, which always makes me smile, when they ask questions like, what's extortion 1-7? By the way, knuckleheads, it's not extortion 17. Just like SEAL Team 6, there is no SEAL Team 6. Frustrates me.
That's Dev Group.
It's Dev Group. Well, just nobody calls it 6. It is 6 in the hierarchy, but nobody calls it 6. Mm-hmm. And nobody calls it Dev Group anymore because people are all using Dev Group. People just suck. Extortion 1-7. I know where this is going. I've had this argument plenty of times. I want to make something clear. When LLTB was marked, it wasn't to me. I'm not a part of the Brotherhood. I've never been a part of the Brotherhood. I'm not a SEAL. Working with the teams is a hell of a lot different than being a SEAL, and I'm not. I am the farthest thing from it. I just happened to go ahead and collect great warriors and friends over my career, and there's a level of respect that I have for the team guys, and somehow they give me just a tiny bit of it, which is awesome for me. So when I'm on a chat stream and someone says LLTB, it's for the people who actually are part of the Brotherhood. I said that because that was the message. Second, if you don't know what you're talking about, and you weren't there, and you weren't chewing the dirt, and you weren't getting the blades kicking up dirt in your eyes there, and you know what the sand tastes like, and you know what the arid environment feels like, leave the speculation alone. Extortion 1-7, we're not the people on the Osama bin Laden raid. That is a complete lie. It is a blatant lie. It was a QRF, a quick ready force. It was fired up in a Chinook. Quick reaction, sorry. Sorry, it's mixed up Air Force. I apologize. Jeez, look at me. I'm going to go golfing later.
And that was also years after.
Yeah. Well, that is true, and it probably was changed, and it was also sometime after. Now, it doesn't mean that certain guys on that on that QRF weren't Bravo and Charlie teams, because multiple teams. And if you know anything about SEAL team structure, most people know the team numbers, but they don't understand the Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta units, and then Omega units. There's units inside. Some are denounced by color, some are alphanumeric. It just depends, but it doesn't matter. The point is that there's groups inside who are a part of Team 2, Team 7, Team 11, whatever it is. And when they are training for OBL, Osama bin Laden raid, there are going to be Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie teams that are going to be training as well. But any of the people who were boots on the ground, who took out OBL, who put one round in him, or supported in any way, shape, or form, was on Extortion 1-7. Absolutely not. So people saying that they were killed because of OBL and a government cover-up, it is one of the most bullshit stories. There's two things that'll get your fucking ass handed to you by a SEAL. One is you pretending to be a SEAL, and two things is go ahead and dishonor the way that their brothers died. I'm telling you right now, I have seen guys thrown off the back of a fucking LCC who said the wrong thing to a group of team guys while we're moving, while we're underway. Don't be stupid. That's all I'm going to say about it. If you want to get into the intricacies and you have questions about it, that's fine. But what I always hear is people go, what about this? What about that? And Danny, I'm not coming down on you. I'm coming down to the people who will do that. And Danny, I'm not saying you will. But that whole thing that Joe Biden got a SEAL team killed is a complete lie. Joe Biden opens up his mouth like many politicians do on something that is OPSEC, and then they go ahead and try to get political clout. You can see how careful Mike, myself, I'm retired for freaking 25 years. Mike is out post-haste at least, 9 months, a year? Mm-hmm. Leroy still dabbles heavily.
I won't own any of it.
So that's my point, is we're very careful to this day to be very cautious of what we say and don't say because of OPSEC. And that is hands down one of the first things you're taught. So, Danny, I'm not coming down on you. I'm just saying that whole story is BS. Okay? All right. Liv, last word. Ladies, I had a good time tonight. I had fun tonight. I liked you guys leading your segment. Mike has wanted to do that for a while, so it's awesome that we did it on his homecoming. Liv, you got your minute, and then we'll hand it off.
Two things. One, go to YouTube. We somehow lost a subscriber. So now we only have 936. What? I know. We got 64 to go. The other thing is, I think you're going to get the promotion out tomorrow, hopefully. We are having a special guest on this Saturday. We're going to do a recorded interview, and then we're going to go live for a special live. And we should be live, I think, around 2 o'clock Eastern, our time. And
tell them who this guy is.
His name is Alan. And I actually went to school with him. We went to school together.
That son of a bitch. Oh,
we just went to school together.
Oh, okay. This isn't that
No,
guy.
no. He was 3 years older than me. I was a freshman.
He robbed the cradle. That bastard.
Did he look fine?
That's funny. That's funny. He runs I don't know exactly what you would call it, but it's called Fathers Lives Matter. Short story, his son is 1 day older than Hayden, and mom and him separated, and mom took son and basically ostracized Ellen out of the kid's life, and mom was an abuser. She was horrible to the kid, and he tried everything to get him back, to get custody, to see him, and he was getting shut down on every time, and even his own dad was
Don't
like,
tell the whole story.
Okay,
Brief it up. Just
so basically, he became his own advocate and got full custody of him. So
and now has 30,000 of followers and has a podcast. And
there's several different. Would you say it? There's
platforms?
Yeah, not platforms, but
Idiom. Ronald Reagan.
Well, he has
Pasadena,
like a YouTube
Grapefruit.
channel, but it's not like his because I didn't know. I obviously looked him up after you guys sent the message and was like, "Oh, I definitely want to be a part of this. This is such
Mainly
a
Instagram.
huge
He's
part
He's
of
multi-platform. He's got a
yeah,
huge, like
Instagram.
90,000 followers on Instagram. So
Yeah.
it's huge, and it's very similar to the way we are on Facebook. So we're going to have him Saturday. Everybody's welcome if you want to, but we're going to go through his story. We're going to do a pre-record, and then we'll go live, and it'll be a great time. And Olivia set that up. Thank you for setting that up. That was awesome. Okay, and then Still Point, we're trying to get them booked at the where?
Monk's Barbecue.
Monk's Barbecue.
in
So they're going to be out
Percival.
here in March, and they may do a live show in our basement.
At
So
Monk's,
this,
Nice.
yeah,
We're trying.
we're
I
working
think
on
it's
it.
I-
like outside, like in the
It's gonna be
front.
March. It's gonna be March. I don't know wherever they do it. They have
I
that
know, but
little
I'm just
stage.
thinking, like, is the parking lot big enough? I guess they got the
I don't-
creamery next door. You can park there.
I don't really
know.
care, other
I'm
than
thinking
Still
park.
Point sleeping at my house, and we're gonna do a freaking show in my basement. That's gonna rock. So
I
It's
realize
a-
this is
March 9th is supposed to be.
What's
when
up,
they're
Mike?
this
coming
is a side topic.
March
I hate
9th.
Monk's Barbecue. Willie's is so much better.
okay, we're going to Willie's.
Thank you,
going
Mike.
to
Thank you, Mike. Mike
I
and I
can't stand
like.
Monk's Barbecue.
I've never been to Willie's.
Yeah,
Okay,
I want to go.
I'm.
God bless
oh,
it.
You're
I just want
welcome,
to tell
dude.
you all this. Wait, Mike, have you had Monk's Barbecue at what's the freaking Flying Ace?
No, I only,
Because their
I've only had it
barbecue-
at the actual restaurant.
So well, I hate Monk's Barbecue at Monk's. I'm sorry, Monk's, because I do love you guys. But Monk's at
Obviously
Flying
not.
Ace, 'cause they have. Well, no. So
Yeah, I was
Monk's
going to
at
say
Flying
that
Ace.
is
they must
totally
be
the opposite
supporting.
of what
They
you
must
just
be.
said.
They must be supporting Ilhan Omar or something.
No. I don't. So my whole family loves Monk's, and I'm always like, oh, I want to go to Smokin' Willie's because I'd rather have Smokin' Willie's. But Flying Ace, which is locally here, they have all their food from Monk's, and they make it on property though, and it's 1,000% better
just make it
at
better.
Flying Ace than it is at their restaurant. I don't
Time
know
out.
why. It's so much better.
Loretta, thank you. Sorry for my language, folks. It's end of the night. I've been doing really well tonight. I had a couple bombs, so thank you, Loretta, for keeping me reminded. Love you guys for keep me honest, right? Keep helping me not cuss because I'm really trying not to. The fact that I didn't cuss hardly at all for Ilhan Omar is amazing. I like Monk's because I like the atmosphere, but it is not the best barbecue. It's dry. It's bland.
The
There's
last
not
couple
enough
times
salt.
It wasn't that great.
Yeah, they need. But you know what? Just book Still Point will be cool. Mike, go ahead.
Say I'm very glad to be back. I had a little hiatus that we'll talk about on one of the shows, but it was good to be back. I loved the discussion. And yeah, let's hope we get some military leaders that actually know how to what violence of action is and understand that we don't need all the goody two shoes in the military. You need some people who can do some horrible things.
Yeah.
So that way the rest of America doesn't have to do it.
If you didn't
So-
hear, brother, they upped the age to 45 for Navy, and also I believe it's 45 now and prior service, but they also waived high school diploma and GED.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you what, when they hit
Yes.
50, when they let 50s, I'm going back in. I'm serious. If they say 50, I'm coming back. I'm going in.
You would get court-martialed
in
and kicked
2
out
minutes.
so fast.
2 minutes.
Yeah, you
2
would.
minutes. I would be out.
Dude,
so
if
fast.
I was your chief, I would.
Yeah. You have no idea how I can toe the line there, Leroy. Come on.
Whatever.
I could. I just don't want to toe the line. That's the problem. I have no desire to toe the line. Liv,
Yes.
did anyone?
already-
Did I?
you already-
Amy, did I get you?
I think no, but
Go
I do
ahead,
have
Amy.
something
Get
to
me.
say.
Okay.
First of all, it's great to see everybody. And Mike, it's so wonderful to have you back. I had a thought while we were talking about all these acronyms, and Liv and I are like, what's that? Wait a minute. We should do a game show where Liv and I have a whiteboard and you guys tell us a little, whatever
we
it is.
tell
And
you
then we have to
acronyms
guess
and you
it.
have to figure it out.
Military, you got to ask military
So
questions,
down.
and we can try.
So, you know what we should do? We should bring in a third lady, like maybe Hayden
Yes.
or we'll bring in Erica. Maybe she'll come on. But what we'll do is we'll do 3 up, 3 down, and we'll do teams. So like Mike has to go with Erica. Maybe Leroy's wife comes on, or she can stand in for Amy, and then Olivia and I, and we'll see who can win the game show based on who gets the acronym first. Dude, that would be awesome. I like the idea.
Yeah, I like that.
Do it.
Well, even though the show started off a little rocky this morning, Amy, go ahead. Were you finished? I'm sorry, hon.
No, I was saying since I'm the odd man out without a teammate, then I'll just pick
You
Ethan.
stick with
because I
Leroy.
think
You and
he was-
Leroy.
I know.
Ethan's
Yeah.
just like, I'll stick with Ethan.
So you'll be
I'll take
surprised.
I feel like he's got me covered.
Ethan's got a photographic memory. Ethan
like his
is
dad.
Ethan is ridiculous. He's
I'll
better
pick
than
him.
me. I have auditory,
and some photographic. Ethan is full auditory and photographic. It's scary.
Great.
He'll pull up
I
scores from
choose him.
2017.
My teammate.
All right. So listen, we got to go. Do me a favor. Go to thedumshow.com. Pick yourself up a cool shirt, a hat. We've got Leroy wearing one, Amy wearing one, and Olivia and I all wearing Don't Unfriend Me clothes. Stop on by, say hello. Make sure you follow, like, share, and subscribe. Also, one last thing, folks. You can now donate to the show. It's not something that we are pushing every minute of the day, but you can go to PayPal. And listen, the people who've donated have been absolutely amazing. We are still pushing, trying to get Spreely all fired up. There's a lot of good things in the work there. But if you have the opportunity, please donate to the show. You can do that monthly. You can do that as a one-time. Doesn't matter. Would love to have you. It's right in the links. Folks, thanks for watching Don't Unfriend Me Show. See you tomorrow live, and we will have a recorded show since I didn't have one today. God bless.
Night,
Good
y'all.
night. Thanks for watching.
See everybody.
Love you guys.
Bye, y'all.
Liv wants to play Diablo.
Mike, it's good to have you back, man.
Yes, it is.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, Olivia, and Mike. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on the Spreely.tv network and all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.